everybody.
Hello, and welcome to another tale from Miniry Village. My name is Thomas. I'm the narrator today. Here are my amazing players. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are very sadly down one grey today, which means our ride and friend Blue, his adventures will be off somewhere else. So we'll have to continue with that next time. Let's dive right in. But before we do, just want to very quickly say that all bits and subs today are going to be going towards our fundraiser for Bail Project. So please, if you're feeling generous, go ahead and support a good cause. Right. So let's dive into things. Last time, the Action Committee, who are council members in the small village of Miniry, were going about some business because, Micah, you were sort of swept away for some very important duty, which we'll get into soon, while the rest of you were kind of going over the fallout of bringing in a prisoner that you got not too long ago after your last adventure. And then a horrible storm came in, basically made any kind of travel impossible. Blue, with his connection to nature, managed to determine that it would be lasting for at least another couple of days, leaving you all a little bit locked into where you were. And during that time, you went about some business. Rami tried to do some undercover sleuth work at the local tunneling project. Val helping out the people and also having some very interesting conversations with the exarch who lives under her roof. And Blue also made his tree into a fortress of solitude. Not solitude, because it is now filled with animals seeking shelter from the storms. And also some new strangers arrived in the village. Things are heating up a bit, but let's go to Micah. So traveling back in time a tiny bit. Micah, you are approached one morning by Piri, who is another night person from the Kyanite kingdom, just like you, from under the mountain. And she is sort of she's a trader, explorer, postmaster, who occasionally keeps you apprised of the situations that are going on back in your homeland. And she arrives to you one morning with a slate that has some very simple text on it that implies that there is going to be a varakita soon, and that your presence is required. A varakita, which you know, of course, meaning a gathering of the royalty, effectively. It is not something to necessarily ignore at all. In fact, it is kind of important for you to immediately go and respond to this. So when she delivers this, what's your immediate reaction, thought?
Immediately, I don't know. Is there? I guess if there isn't anything too important that I need to handle here, I'll just let Suna know, and and I'll just tell anyone, just like, if you have any questions, talk to Second in Command Razias there, very official, and immediately start packing up whatever stuff that she might need, and head out.
Excellent. Yeah, I think Pyrie is going to go with you as well. She will kind of escort you, make sure everything is okay, as you are technically a princess of those lands. And yeah, you set off, and on your way, Pyrie starts talking to you. Fortunately, at this time, it is fairly mild outside, a bit chilly, but not much more. You're just fresh off of conversing with the prisoner that you got, and you learn that he's a bit of a case because he thinks there is some sort of mysticism that comes from...
He's a psychopath, let's just be honest here.
Yeah, from the death of Raiden, like your dear friend Blue. So yeah, that's kind of probably what's going to be most on your mind at the moment. But yeah, Pyrie's kind of just talking with you, asking about the latest news. I don't know if you ever carry around one of Rami's newsletters or not.
I will actually stack one off of a nearby rack and just show parents so this is what they write on? It's called paper? Look how stupid this is.
She grabs it and she says to you, yeah, I've seen this all over the place and I just don't understand. Just look, gone,
yeah,
just like that.
Look at that, just, what, doesn't work. But they write on this.
Why can't they write on stones like normal people?
I don't know. I think they just make so much of it and kill so many other things to make it, that it justifies their actions? Who knows? Surface dwellers, crazy people.
Ugh. Well, anyway, how are you? What's been going on with you? How's your time being stationed with the surfaces been going?
It's bright and food's good, but there's a lot more people than we expected. I haven't found any sorcerers yet, but
That's good.
but there's a lot of other things that are also scary.
Like what? You gotta tell me.
Oh, bandits, and then people lighting things on fire, and then so many people lighting things on fire, and and I don't know, storms are kind of crazy too. I mean, just things just keep falling from the sky and it just doesn't end.
Hmm. Yeah, that's my least favorite thing.
Right? And then there's like
We had
animals.
eticaps, but at least we could run away from them. With weather, you're just stuck with it.
Right. You can't run away from it. You can't hide under it. Yeah, you have to like build something and hope it doesn't collapse on top of your head. Insanity. Good sturdy mountain. That's what these people need.
Yep. And you two, at this point, you start kind of like ascending the sort of base of the mountain that leads to the entrance to your home, the Kyanite Kingdom. And Peri's kind of talking to you all about sort of the adventures that she's been on. You know that she loves traveling. Doesn't necessarily love the sun, so she travels a lot at night. She's been to the north, to the lands of Rosea, and she's telling you all about the things she's seen there. And she says, so they have this grass that just grows ridiculously high, and you get lost in it really easily, and it's really loud when the wind blows. And everyone there is married to their horse or something. I'm not entirely sure. I think I lost some of the cultural eccentricities, but it really seems that way. They love their horses, and there's these big, scary cats that just lurk around. It's very scary over there.
Okay, I didn't see any big scary cats, but a big scary cat turned us into cats at one point, so...
She just stops. What?
I think I forgot to mention that. That's actually kind of important.
I think you forgot to mention that.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that! To be fair, I don't really remember much of that. But yeah, I don't think... But yeah, there's a big scary... I think it was a cat that turned us into cats at one point. And there's like peacocks the size of horses here instead. And there's also horses too. There's also horse-sized horses and peacock-sized horses.
Is anyone married to that peacock?
It might... I don't know. I don't know the marriage customs here. Maybe
No,
she
do I.
is.
It's
I
all
don't
very
know.
confusing.
She's oddly protective of it, so maybe she is married to it. Who knows?
Well, surfaces, right?
Surface dwellers.
And yeah, you continue to the entrance to your mountain kingdom. It's very out of the way, very small kind of little tunnel that you try to keep fairly... You try to downplay it quite a lot. There's a few rocks sort of shaped in front of it to make sure no intruders come in. You, of course, can effortlessly just move them to one side with your innate powers. And you head back in, and it is... I don't know, you tell me, how does it feel to be back inside this very solid feeling, underground, very dark homeland of yours?
I think it's almost a little disappointing. No, like no offense, but it's almost like when you leave for a long time or something like that, and then you come home for the first time, like in college or in a dorm or something, you come home for the first time, and you're just like, home. It's a lot smaller than I remember.
Yes. I think that's actually a really big thing that you notice, especially with how I think everything seems slower and less active, and like you said, smaller, and just on a scale that you don't remember it being this diminutive.
Yeah, it's comforting, but at the same time, it's just like there's something missing. Maybe it's changed, but it's not the home that's changed.
Right. So you and Pyre descend the winding tunnels, going down in sort of the heart of your homeland. And again, it's composed of a few clans of families. It is not a significantly large place, even though it is technically a kingdom. Your people have constantly been on the move, moving through the mountains, and have never really put settled roots down anywhere. In fear of the Sorcerer Kings once again coming to destroy everything that your civilization is. But yes, you go through this dark area of your place. There's no lights anywhere. All night people have a very significant degree of dark vision that they're able to see in underground without much problem. And it's not long before you kind of enter into the lovely, sort of very sort of simply shaped but quite elegant home of your family. And you are very quickly greeted by two people, your mother and father. Your father kind of like spins around when he sees you, starts running at you, and he just grabs you and lifts you up and spins you around and goes, Micah! How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everyone? Everyone's still here and
Sturdy as a rock. This is a good day, a very good day. I'm glad you came so soon for Varakita.
Yeah. What's going on? Is everything okay?
Oh, yes. Everything's fine, but discussing matters of grave importance. So we'll be getting started very soon. We're just waiting for the Hierophant, and then we shall begin. But how are you? How have your journeys been? How has life in the Lightlands been?
Good. Generally good. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. She reaches in her bag and like brings out a couple of like random dried fruits and she's like, I brought stuff.
Lovely. Yeah. You kind of give some of these things around. Your mother comes up and she says, "This is amazing. How now? When you say everything's fine, you truly mean everything's fine?"
Uh-huh. I mean,
She kind of looks at you, cocks her head.
It's okay. It's a little frightening and it's really terrifying, but so far it's nothing that we can't handle. I mean, if I can survive out there, we all can too, probably. The talking animals are a little weird, and everyone seems to want to fight each other a lot. But other than that, and the whole magic thing everywhere and things lighting on fire at times, and maybe it's actually not good.
No sorcery, no dragons, no foul, evil civilizations coming to destroy anything.
Not so far.
They kind of like look at each other like, "Yeah, there we go."
It's like, I'm back. I'm here. I'm still alive. There's a lot of strange and crazy things out there, and some of them are very, very frightening, and some of them are very, very wonderful.
Oh, well, it's wonderful to see you. It's been too long, as it always is, but we're both very proud of you for all the work that you're doing out there on your own.
Thanks. Where's Emin?
Oh, he'll be here soon. He's just wrapping up some of his lessons. If you want to, you can go try and find him.
Yeah.
And with that, you start running through the halls of your sort of ancestral family estate. And you run into an area that's kind of a large, empty place that has a series of big pillars sort of set about, and you see your brother is kind of like hopping from one pillar to the other, he's carrying a big stick trying to stay balanced, just working on his strength. You know that this is a very integral part to sort of mastering and refining the art of stone shaping, and he does not seem to notice you coming in. He's clearly concentrating very hard.
I'm 100% going to stone shape the next pillar that he jumps on, so it becomes like a
gosh.
foot shorter. It's like boom.
Love it. Go ahead and make a stone shaping test then, and let's see how that goes.
Okay. I guess that might just be soften earth.
Yeah?
Yeah, that might just be soften earth. Okay, cool. I got a 16.
16. Okay, let's see how he does. So he got an 11. So you do this, you kind of retract the pillar at the last minute, and you just hear, whoa, whoa, whoa! And he falls, tumbles onto the ground. The staff goes flying into the air and clatters onto the ground. And he just kind of looks up in shock and surprise about how he could have possibly missed that jump. And then he just sees you standing over, smiling at him. And he's like, "Hey, that's very dangerous."
You've got it. It's fine. Solid as a rock.
Yeah, solid as a rock. I didn't know you got back.
Yeah, well, I just got back. I wanted to see you.
Yeah,
Looks like training is going well. You're jumping around on pillars like a weirdo, but
He kind of looks at the pillars and says, "Well, this stuff is easy. It's all the other things that gets much harder."
Fair. That's why I know you can handle it.
Except I didn't. Doesn't bode well for me if I can't even do the easy part.
Oh, you'll be fine.
And then he goes to kind of give you a hug and a firm, sort of rock-solid handshake that is common with your people as well. And it's when he does that he kind of like touches on the large scar that you have across your forearm. And you remember back in the day when he and you were just fairly young, and you were attacked by an Ettercap, and you got that scar in that situation, and it was he who managed to desperately try and keep the thing off of you in that moment.
I mean,
And it might be the moment. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I mean, to Emin, like, if you could, solo kill a Ettercap while you were 9 years old, you could totally handle just a little bit of stone shaping. And
Kind of like grabs you by the shoulder and says, "You and I both know that was extreme luck on my part."
it was fine, okay? You were really, really cool.
Thanks. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Yeah, so you two go back and assemble for the Varakita, which is going to be on your part. You don't necessarily know what's going to be involved, but it's usually a decision needs to be made, and they'll probably ask for your perspective on certain things.
Okay.
But the Hierophant arrives, so it's him. He's a sort of 40-year-old, fairly athletic knight person, and he's been kind of the religious leader of your people for a good, I don't know, 20 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of grew up with his leadership, and he is sort of, when he sees you, he just kind of like gives the appropriate nod. You can see that he's not necessarily, he's wearing sort of, he's not wearing a shirt, he's got sort of ceremonial paints all over him, but he does have some very fine spider silk gowns on underneath. And he looks very prepared for this audience.
He's pimping.
And then the Varakita begins, and so it's the four of you, your family, and the Hierophant. So you hear your father say, "Now, the reason I've called this is that I believe it is time for us to finally erect a Haven Stone." And you understand this to mean that it is a part of your culture, since you're always on the move. A Haven Stone has been often talked about by the rulers of the Kyanite Kingdom. To construct one is to effectively state, this is now our home, this is now our territory, and we're here to stay. It is a decision of monumental importance, because it means after generations of fleeing, sorcery, and constantly moving to different areas, it means you're finally going to put down roots and finally attempt to kickstart your civilization once again, so it can reach the same heights that it enjoyed hundreds of years ago. So there have been many people you've learned from, sort of the histories of your people, who have tried to found a Haven Stone, but none have ever followed through, because there's always been some problem that has come up that has prevented people from wanting to stay in one place for too long. So what this effectively means is that you are about to found the center of the Kyanite Kingdom, and it's going to be here to stay forever. It's a huge deal, and it also means that if we do this, we are not backing down. Like, if the Sorcerer Kingdoms come again, we are going to defend this place to our last. It is very important. So your father continues, and he says, "I believe that if we study our histories, the new norm has become running, and it has become hiding, and it has been collapsing our tunnels to ensure that our enemies cannot follow us, and it has been staying quiet in the darkness. And I believe that this is not something we should see as the status quo. We should always remember that us on the move like this is always in search of a new land, a new place to call home. I believe now is the time where we can finally say that we are ready to stop running. We are ready to found the true glory of the Kyanite Kingdom. And I think, based on what I've seen so far, this is a chance for a wonderful opportunity, and I don't want to waste any time." And once she finishes speaking, your mother also goes up, and she says, "We've learned the impressive glories of our ancestors. We carry their stories with us wherever we go, and we cherish them. We cherish those stories, and we bring their culture with us, and we ensure it is never forgotten. But we can't deny that with every generation, those memories get chipped away. How long before the grand glories and the ways of our people get forgotten completely, eroded? If we stay here, if we finally found this haven stone, then we can finally center ourselves and from there grow." And she steps back a little bit. The Hierophant steps forward and he says, "Okay, well, this is a very big decision. It is not one to be taken lightly. I mean no disrespect when I say I feel like we are leaping into this choice very quickly. I certainly acknowledge what you have both said, and I agree to a degree that what you're saying has merit, but we must consider our kingdom's safety first and foremost. Are we truly bereft of enemies on all sides? I'm not sure if we are just yet. Do we truly know that now is the time to lay down these roots? Are we truly safe? Can we really trust the surface dwellers? We have to be careful not to fall into another trap like we did before." And he steps back, and your father and mother both kind of turn to you as if to say, "Well, let's hear your perspective on things."
Oh, well, I, I don't, it's, I almost think that staying under and in these mountains, it might not be safe for just, I don't want to keep running, but I also don't know if it's just safe to stay here. Recently, when the village of Miniry, at least, we encountered something that let people pass through stone very easily, and I think, is that correct? I don't know if there has been any other research, but it seems like if someone got a hold of that, they could just tunnel through the mountains really easily. So running still might have been the best decision, but that kind of power we can't run away from forever. But at the same time, she just looks around. I want to protect us and protect what we have, but I don't know if that's just, if all this history is worth laying down our lives for. Maybe we should change the way we live and live above a bit, and and the best way we can share history is to share it with other people, and not just hide under here or even run around here. That's it. Sorry.
Beautiful. First of all, gain conviction. Second of all, make an empathy test.
Okay. Where the crap is empathy?
Perception.
Why is it under perception? Okay.
Because you're perceiving it.
That's a 13.
13. You see that your father is being very stoic, very hard to read as you're saying these things. He's sort of just like letting you say them and just digesting what you're saying. Your mother, the second you kind of mention any sort of idea of leaving behind the history, or maybe it's not, as important as our lives, you see that she is very, she's made very uncomfortable by that thought. And she just kind of is staring at you a little bit as if to say, "What has happened on the surface? Why are you saying this now?" But before anything goes much further, your father turns to your brother Emmon and he says, "Emmon, you've been quite quiet. You're going to lead these people soon. This is a very important decision. We would hear what you would have to say about it." And Emmon kind of like sort of mirrors you a little bit, of just looking a bit sheepish, stepping forward, and he says, "Well, I think a lot of good points have been raised today." And he starts sort of fidgeting with his hands and then puts them at his sides to ensure that he stops doing that. And he says, I think it is a good idea to properly lay down roots. My sister said that we should maybe go on the surface, and I don't quite know what to do with that, but maybe it's something worth looking into. But maybe it's also not the safest time. I don't. If we're going to found something, then I'm going to be the one who has to rule over it, and I don't know if I'm really ready for that. And your father steps in. He says, "If you are not ready now, then you will never be ready. We need decisive action moving forward. That's how we rule a people, son. We need to be prepared for these things. You can't just step back all your life." And he sort of nods his head a bit and goes, "Yes, I understand." And your father says, "Well, it seems we're a bit divided on the issue, so we will carry out a vote and see where fate takes us. If you are in favor of founding this Havenstone, then showcase your skill." And you can see that your father raises a stalagmite from the ground, as does your mother, and that's it. And seeing the results, they seem quite disappointed. They're not hiding it at all. And then your father says, "All those not in favor, then show us your skills." Do you, Micah, vote against?
Yeah, I think I vote against it.
Okay. So yeah, you and the Hierophant both extend the stalagmites up from the ground, and you notice that your brother Emon is still undecided. And your father turns to him and says, "Son, now is not the time to be holding back. We need to make a decision. We are divided on the issue. It all comes down to you. Now, what is your choice?" And he looks very nervous, and he sort of looks at you, Micah. What kind of look are you giving him?
Just kind of encouraging. I don't know, if he wants to lay one down here, she'll support him, you know?
Mhm.
If he doesn't, which is what she kind of wants, like, also, like, just thumbs up. What is the rock equivalent of a thumbs up?
The rock equivalent of thumbs up, I don't know.
I don't know. Just like, go on. Like, whatever you say, it'll be fine.
And your brother, somewhat reluctantly, says, "All right, let this be a start of the new Kyanite kingdom." And he says, "I vote for it." And with that, with 3 votes against 2, the matter is decided. And your father and mother do not hide their glee. Your father's just like, "Yes! Excellent! Let this be a historic day. Let this be a day where our civilization truly begins, once again, rising from the ashes of its destruction so long ago." And that concludes this meeting. Thank you all for coming here at short notice. We have a lot of planning to do. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Okay. Evan, great job.
He looks at you and he takes a moment to kind of go like, "Yeah, thanks," but it quickly evolves into, "I don't know what I'm doing."
It's okay. It'll be fine. I mean, I'm like really sure that Dad didn't know what he was doing when he, came to power. He's 100% faking it.
I can't even jump on pillars right. How am I going to lead an entire kingdom?
To be fair, I was the one that messed up the pillar. So, if I'm here and not messing up the pillar, you'll be fine. And besides, you're not gonna go at this alone. I'm not gonna let my big brother just, rule the entire place without me saying anything about it. Give me a piece of the pie. Or you don't know what a pie is, but I'll bring you one sometime.
He just kind of like goes over to hug you, and he just says, "Thanks. I'm sure it'll be okay. I just gotta figure a lot of things out, I think."
Yeah, it'll be fine. I think. I I still don't know if it's a great idea. I'm still kind of undecided. I want
Oh.
to stay here, and it's really nice here, but at the same time, you know, you should really come to the surface sometime and see how they live. The mountains are the way they talk about these mountains. It's something that needs to be buried, and you know, nothing's good around here. It's just bandits and thieves, and you know, no one really seems to really want to come here or interact with it, or and they're perfectly happy to forget about it altogether. So
Well, maybe we can change that.
I don't really know how. If we're just gonna stay down here forever.
I don't know either. But it's done. We'll see how it goes. You'll let me know if Sorcerer Kings appear, right?
You'll be the first to know. I promise.
Okay, thank you. And he sort of goes off because he suddenly got a lot of duties on his plate. And the Hierophant, whose name, by the way, is Kynan, he comes over to you and he says, "Well, I can't say I necessarily agree with this choice, but it has been made, and I respect the wishes of your family. I do appreciate what you said, though. I think there was some true wisdom behind it."
Maybe they'll come around. I mean, establishing trade routes.
He kind of laughs a bit. He says, "I've never known your parents to come around on much.
Stubborn as a rock.
The best we can do is accept what's been decided and then forge forward with everything we have. You know that I would do absolutely anything to ensure the safety of this place, so I'm not going to let anything stop it."
Okay. Thanks.
Hope your exertions have been going well.
Yeah, pretty well. I should talk to my parents about this if they want. Setting up a Havenstone. Maybe I should stay here instead.
You mean permanently?
Yeah, instead of hanging around the surface. Family comes first and everything, you know.
I understand. Well, don't let me keep you any longer.
Thank you. And yeah, I guess we'll go run off and find her mother and father, who are probably like, I don't know, doing the equivalent of popping open a bottle of champagne.
No, they've already dived into figuring out exactly what's going to be taking place from here. So they're basically going to. So the first thing we're going to need is a palace. So here's how we're going to make the palace. Here's where we're going to put it for these reasons, and then from there everything will grow out.
They're like an old couple that are just like, let's remodel our home. We're gonna blow out the kitchen, make an open concept.
Yeah. But they are underway. You can see your father just hammering runes into a rock, getting orders ready for various people. And your mother sort of discussing matters with your brother as well. So what do you do?
I guess. Oh man, who was the one who's like a little more willing to not stay? Both of them just wanted to stay, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because the plan up to this point was basically, as soon as things get bad, we're going to keep running. We're going to keep tunneling to the west. And you know that there's barely any mountains left to the west anymore. So that seems to be that's what's sort of driving a lot of your parents' decision. You think is because there's nothing more to be gained from that. It's like it's now or never. Let's do this.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I'll just approach both of them and just ask, do you want me to stay instead of leave again? I mean, I know family comes first, and the only reason I kind of left was for you guys. But I'm not a surface dweller permanently. I still like it down here.
Your mother comes over to hug you as soon as you say that, and she says, "We, of course, would love nothing more than you to stay and help us sort of see this moment through, but we all have our tasks in this, Micah, and yours are still vitally important. You're the only one keeping any kind of relations between our kingdom and the civilizations of the surface represented."
Yeah, That's a good point. I mean, okay, but okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's a little I was just really hoping that I could be with you, but also be at the surface too with all my other new friends and combine the two. But, you know, maybe that'll be in the future and not now.
Your father says, "We all have our duties to this kingdom, Micah, and I share your feeling. I would love for us to be together more, but we have to build towards the future. And you're going to need to be a part of that. And sadly, that means to be away from home fairly frequently. But we trust you implicitly. And we know you have a very difficult job, and we know that you're doing extremely well."
Yay! She's no pressure or anything.
Nope. It's kind of that conversation of just like he thinks, I fixed everything, and you're like,
Like everything's fine. I'm like, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So your parents quickly get back to work, unless there's anything else you wanted to say.
That's it.
Okay. Then when you're ready, you and Pyre can get moving and get back to Miniry. Is that what you would like to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's picked up she's dropped off a lot of goods that she's acquired in her travels at the market, and then picked up some sort of night person specialties as well, and then is kind of hauling them in this massive backpack that she's carrying. And she's not necessarily the biggest, bulkiest person, but she seems to handily deal with this massive backpack that she's got. And she kind of like grabs it eagerly and says, "Okay, ready to go?"
Yeah, I think that's everything. Bit of a short visit, but I should probably visit here more often anyway.
It's fair to say that you probably spent at least a day here, just going over everything,
Catching
observing
up
the correct things.
and maybe just like poking and just like don't build the palace so high. I mean, we're only like 4 people. Open concept, okay, but you need structural support.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. So you get your say in there, and then you head back out with Pyre again. And as you're kind of like going down the mountainside, it's a much easier journey to go back because it means gravity is working with you this time.
Mm-hmm.
As you're heading back, Pyre is saying to you, "So, what's the plan?"
They're setting Havenstone here, I guess, and they're going to stay here permanently.
Wow.
Yeah. For the first time forever, right?
In literally forever, yes.
In generations, so I don't know. At the same time, what do you think, Pyre? I mean, you spend more time on the surface than I have at this point.
I have. Look, I'm getting a tan, and she just holds up her gray skin.
Oh my god. I can't believe her skin can actually go like that. That's weird. Yeah, so what do you think? I mean, I value your opinion, honestly. Probably more than some other people's, so.
She says, "Well, you know me. I'm not a princess. I didn't really have a whole lot of stakes in this place. Like, sure, I understand and honor our ancestors and everything, but at the same time, I just was happy to get out of there and just see things. There's a lot of things I've discovered, and some of them are very scary and bad, but I still love doing what I'm doing right now. And honestly, I actually really am excited by the idea of a Havenstone because it means we don't have to be so reclusive now. We can actually expand, and the city can spill out from the mountains, and we can have an entire kingdom, and everyone from around will be coming and traveling and seeing what we have to offer, and we can finally have some culture."
We have culture. I mean, mostly it's under a rock, but, we have
When
culture.
I was in Rosea, they had a thing. They had this sort of stall set up with wood. They love wood, use it for everything. And they had these people inside that had little bits of cloth on their hands, and they were dancing around doing all sorts of things. They were telling stories, and everybody came around to listen to the stories, and it was nice being somewhere where they could just enjoy having fun for a bit.
I guess, but I mean, I still don't want to marry a horse, okay?
Yeah, don't go to Rosea. You wouldn't do well if you don't marry horses, I think.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I mean, they didn't make me marry one. It's just that most of them seem to really like their horses.
Oh. Okay. Well, you know, surface dwellers. What can you do?
Yep. Makes your bunch look somewhat normal.
She just thinks back to like everything just lighting on fire and talking animals. Is like, yep, normal.
Great. So as you descend down the mountain and head back to, like, you could even see Miniry from where you're at during your descent. You begin returning home, and it's a very dark, cloudy day, and very quickly, it starts to rain.
See, look at this.
You get utterly soaked. Piri is just, she says to you, did I remember to waterproof this backpack? I didn't. Oh no! She just kind of looks at it like, and just starts running.
Get back inside. Get back inside. I can handle it from here.
You're far too far down the mountain at this point. It would be quicker to run to Miniry.
Okay, yeah. I guess we both just run to Miniry inside the
Yeah.
guardhouse. In.
And yeah, you get inside. Eventually, you see that there's not many people around. The rain is truly, truly terrible. Some of the worst you've ever seen. And it kind of, I think it might evoke an idea of you of like, maybe life up here wouldn't be very good after all. It's like this. But soon you kind of like go around because there's nothing left to do at the guardhouse aside from talk to the prisoner, which I don't know if you want to do or not.
No, I think she'll let you introduce like Piri. This is the prisoner. This is Piri. He likes to murder people, so don't.
She just whispers to you, "Why are you introducing us?"
I just feel as if it's polite.
I don't want to be here.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, if you see him around, run, because he likes to murder people.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
I'm not wrong.
And yeah, you leave trying to see where anybody is. You see there's a lot of bright lights coming from the tavern, the Blooming Bud Tavern. And if you quickly run up and go inside, utterly soaked, you see that Rami and Val and Blue are sharing a group hug as you enter.
What did I miss?
And the rest of you, who just came together for a beautiful moment of friendship, turn around to see that Micah is coming completely drenched.
Oh, my darling, you need a towel. Why don't you sit?
Okay. Katie, you're muted.
Katie, darling, you're muted.
I just heard her over to the fire, just like,
Yep.
She sits by the fire, maybe not too close, because everything just catches on fire here.
The tavern is packed with people. All sorts of people from the village are here. There's a bit of a raucous upcry as people sort of telling stories and such. You recognize maybe there's a few strangers as well. But it is mercifully warm, and you are very quickly drying your completely soaked through clothes.
How was it? Did you enjoy seeing your family?
Oh, how did you know? Or I guess you know everything.
You came in the middle of the meeting and left before I had a breakdown. Don't worry about any of that.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, it was great. I think we might some big changes are happening, so hopefully
Ooh, what kind of changes?
The whole setting setting our roots down in one place for the first time.
That's so exciting, my. Can I make an official announcement on the paper, or do I still need to wait a little longer? Okay.
Keep
Keep
it a little secret, because, I'm still...
Seven heads immediately turn to you. Like, what does that mean, you laying down roots?
It's just...
They're gonna plant grass! It's so exciting! They're thinking about getting cows down there!
Oh, lots of talk about cows recently. I
there
tell
There
you.
is so much talk about cows! And I steer the conversation away while so Micah can...
We live up.
Don't talk about cows over there! I heard there's a ghost cow, and then I just kind of shoo them away.
Still
wow.
the ghost cow.
I am super impressed with how she handled that. Holy cow.
So what did I miss? Anything too important? I just walked in on you guys hugging each other. Are you three getting married?
What?
No.
What?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
A head spins around. Someone's getting married?
No, that
No
was
one's getting married! Are you getting married? And then I just redirected back at them.
Oh, I'm getting married. I didn't even know
the
it.
Uno reverse card.
A round of drinks for this man!
I don't even know who to.
And I push him away.
It's like there's just a bunch of cheers and drinks thrown in the air for just purely
No one
because of
knows what's going
frenzy
on
started.
What were you saying, Micah?
What about what? The whole.
There's
Thanks for the host.
3 new people. 3 new people have arrived.
A host. But yeah.
Oh yeah, and they're gonna handle our ghost cow problem, so you don't have to worry about it.
I thought that. Okay, I mean, if you say so. I don't really know how to handle ghosts.
There's a moment where Rami's like, she knows it's not real, right? Like, she was there in the initial meeting. I don't know if Mike is that good of a liar. She's like, yes.
So yes, there is something that we should probably talk about in private to bring you up to speed on. As I'm looking at all of these people, just
Like, as soon as you say in private, someone just immediately just kind of like locks eyes with you.
shit.
Takes a slow sip.
Not that kind of private. Go away.
Don't mind me.
Oh no, I'm
I'm minding
you.
a little bit. We're gonna leave now.
Just kind of walks off.
Oh,
Right, I know what you were doing last Sunday.
Remy, please. That was really weird.
I don't actually know what he's doing, but most people will have a reaction, and then I guess it's fun.
But yeah. So if we would want to go somewhere in private or stay here.
You can go to the little offshoot dining room area where you
Yeah.
chatted with Blue.
Okay. Shoot.
Have you ever heard of something called the Spring of Dreams? Or the
Or
Spring
nightmares.
Yes,
coincidentally.
and or nightmares.
Have I heard anything about that?
You can make a history or
I didn't know if
natural
like
law test.
her people had like more stories of it or something.
I have a historical lore. Is that what you wanted?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Roll a 16.
Ooh.
16. You have heard, I believe, in one of Pyre's tales that she told you of her exploits, kind of exploring around the place, she mentioned something along those lines, but you're struggling to recall any concrete details.
Is Pyre still here?
No, she's not with you currently. She was getting all her stuff ready before embarking on a big journey.
Okay, well she came down, and I think I maybe left her in the prison house or something, and then came to
I think
the
she
tower.
left, but yeah, she didn't follow you.
Oh shoot. If I run out really quick and start yelling my head off her, do you think she can hear me?
It is very unlikely that she would go anywhere in this storm, so she's probably just holed up in her home, in the room that she's renting. So you could just slam on the door and get her if you want.
Pyre.
She kind of she gets up, opens the door, she's changed into something more dry, and she says, "What is it? What's happening?"
Nothing big, but I remember apparently we need to talk about a spring of what is it? Dreams?
And
And
or
or
nightmares.
nightmares.
Do you remember
Oh,
anything?
you were
about that?
friends.
Hello, happy
hello.
Lovebird, pleasure.
These are my
She's like,
friends.
"Hi."
These are my friends, and this is a talking bird.
Ooh, this would be a great time for me to ask both of you. Has Micah gotten into any romantic trysts recently? She's
No,
very
I have
tight-lipped
not.
about that
Remy,
kind of thing.
stop. No,
I should tell you about
Can
the
I just
ghosts
throw
that
Remy out the
happened.
door? Just like, nope,
Yeah.
she's just out.
You can make a might test versus her might test with strength. I mean, she's picking
That
you
was
up and
just
throwing
watching
you.
like, what the fuck?
Nope, no romantic, nope, no, that's a 14. She's like picking you up
14.
and like shoving you out the door.
Remy, would you like to make a strength test?
There's no way. Yeah, sure. Let's see how bad.
You have to believe.
You have to believe.
Believe in the
I
power
believe.
of gossip.
Well, if I can talk my way through it, then I would.
Oh
That's
no.
actually pretty cool. You rolled the 12 with 4 stun points.
12 out of 14.
Okay, I'm going to use the stunts to do and another thing. To
Okay.
use that to make a communication test to talk while being thrown
All right.
out.
So Mikey goes to pick you up immediately without much effort. As she is dragging you outside, you expertly just claw onto the door frame and just say, "Up."
She gave a flower to Wuja!
Stop!
And she meets
Pyre
her in
goes.
secret on the beach!
Pyre goes, "What?"
Stuck, we want to talk about a spring of nightmares,
Micah
okay?
and a surfacer. Oh, it's so wonderful. It's a union of two cultures.
Okay, maybe that was why you wanted to live on the surface, but shut up.
Wait, that's why?
Wait, what?
Well, then, it's just kind of awkward, and the surface is.
Pyre
nice
just
sometimes.
just steps back for a second and just runs around a few circles in the room, just going, "Ah!" and then comes back to the door.
Stop!
I'm
We're talking about ghost tales. We're talking
She starts
about
poking you.
wells of scary things, and. You
This is
guys are
all
the
while the
worst.
three of you are getting fairly
I-
drenched as well.
You guys
I
are the
think this is
worst.
fantastic.
You guys are the worst.
Oh my
Back
goodness.
inside? I
You
haven't
marry a
made it to
surfacer.
the con.
And you're a princess. That means we're gonna have even more princesses.
That's not how it works, Pyre.
Is that not how it works?
No, Evans is the new ruler. I'm just second in command. He's never gonna die.
What if he dies before you, though?
Don't poison Evan, please.
What? No.
I still be part of the royal family, so they'll still be high up.
I guess, but still, it'll be like Emin's kids, and Emin, doesn't have any interest in anyone yet, but he might. Still.
Pyre, she just kind of like starts adjusting pillows on various chairs and kind of just scoots you all to various seats and then just starts brewing up some tea. And she says, "Okay, well, I have plans to get everything ready for my trip that I'm going to be making, but it's raining, so let's do this now instead."
Stop! I want to ask you about the spring of dreams. Wait!
Micah does have a point. We did come here for a very specific question, as much as I am enjoying this.
I hate
However,
you guys so much.
You
We
don't
love you.
understand.
I don't want to live on the
Darling.
surface anymore. You guys are all crazy.
Oh, and you just made. Oh, you.
It's
Ah!
the sun. The sun bakes your head, it makes your brains melt, and then everyone
Yeah,
goes
we've had
crazy.
so much sunlight today with all the rain and clouds.
Stop!
Hey, Pirate, tomorrow I can point her out for you.
Excellent.
Spring
How have we
of
not met? You
dreams!
seem really fun.
Spring of dreams!
Micah, you just smash a coffee table in half.
Oh,
Just boom.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. Hopefully that wasn't too expensive to fix.
And Pyre says, "Well, it wasn't mine, so."
She'll just like,
See, this is why you don't make things. And she turns to the two of you out of wood because they break really easily.
I always thought that Micah was just
They do not break
Strong?
things like that.
Micah's just like rearranging, so the two houses are like leaning against each other
Yeah.
against the wall. So the next
Very
person who touches
precarious.
it breaks it. It's just like it's their fault. They broke it, not me. Just okay.
Beautiful. Love
Wood,
it.
hate it. It's everywhere. Stupid. And paper.
But you like surfaces.
Mhm.
I hate
And
you so
certain
much.
people on the
I hate you
surfaces.
so much.
All right. What did you really want? We're not done, by the way. But what did you actually want?
Yes, we are, and we wanted you. I think you told me a story about the spring of dreams or something, or nightmares.
and or nightmares. Yes.
One or the
Well-
other, maybe both.
Okay. Well,
Spring
I
of
know.
Dreams, nightmares.
I know about. I met somebody along the way. They were a traveling troubadour of something like that, and they told me this fascinating story. We shared a camp one night, and they said that they had just come to this area looking for what's it called? The Vatizin, looking for Vatizin ruins.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And she said that she was looking for a place called the Spring of Dreams, and that there was something. There was rather somebody who had found it that she was looking for because once they went go looking for it, they didn't come back. Very spooky.
Oh,
Ooh.
Why are you looking happy?
she-
When people don't come back, that's usually a bad thing. It means they're dead.
Did she say who it was who
Necessarily?
went looking for it?
No one ever knows that part.
Well, it was a friend of theirs. A scholar type, I think.
So what is supposed to do anyway in the Spring of Dreams?
It's
Well, as far as what I
supposed-
can... Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, no, go. It's your
You
story.
probably- No, the best I got is it's a spring and there's dreams. That's all. That's really all I have.
Well, supposedly it can let you relive someone's experiences or just share memories, I guess.
Why can't you do that with read object? Don't you guys do that all the time?
It's so allegedly it could also maybe grant your greatest desire or bring it to life.
Huh.
Oh, they should call it a
Yeah.
Spring of Wishes then.
I feel like this is a child's dream now. This seems like a little kid fairy tale.
The
I
thing is
underwent
that
mental torture from you three, just to tell me that this is a children's fairy tale. I hate you so much.
Well, it ate at least one person, so there's that.
True! Or so they said. Friend of a friend doesn't have much validity to it. People can say that about anything. I can tell you right now that I had a friend who was eaten by a spooky tree, and you have no reason not to believe me.
It's a
really
spring
thought
of-
you were going to say ghost cow, but you know.
It's a spring of false advertisement is what it is.
Well, we've never seen the spring. Maybe it does do that. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it gives you a little bit of something, and it's enough that makes people want to come back and find out more. Who knows?
I mean, there's been more than a few archaeologists that I've traveled with who've talked about it.
Yes, and
Well, why do we need to find this anyway? What brought this up anyway? I don't know.
oh yes, there's 3 new visitors that came in, and they immediately were like, "Oh, we solve problems and search for adventure or something." So, I think our worry is if there is in fact a spring like this, it means we could get a lot more tourists, which, and not the good kind, not the
Not
kind that are going.
necessarily tourists, but it could attract unwanted attention, and also that is, if it's real, if it does these things, that is a source of power.
But
And
if we don't know where it
sources-
is, why they're just coming here based off of rumors, right?
Thing is that I feel like they've done some actual scholarship on this, so I don't know.
Shouldn't you just go ask them to ask where they found out? Or where they know this information?
I could.
Did we do that? I think we talked
Did
to
we?
them.
Yeah,
We,
you talked to. It's been a week. It's okay.
Yeah.
You talked to Latzi, and he mentioned to you that they went to Rizea looking for various things of interest, and they found something that suggested the Spring of Nightmares was in this area, though the maps are completely not correct, and very few details seem to match up correctly. However, it does corroborate with the legend of a Spring of Dreams being in this area. And when I say this area, where you are is very wild, very untamed. It is the frontier. There is plenty of land that has not been explored at all. It is just extremely difficult to traverse wilderness.
Mhm.
Also, the wheel does weird things sometimes, which doesn't help.
yes. So I think that's a concern. It's something that would be better if we found it first. And
And do
It's just-
what? Block it up? With or
well, if we know what it is and what it does, then we can make a valid choice. At the moment, we're acting off of rumors. And rumors, I can say this as the queen of rumors, are not a valid source of information.
oh,
We
That's
find it first. Can I
very-
bottle it and sell it?
You know what? If you give half the proceeds to Miniry, we can talk. Maybe.
All right, I like this.
I would like to say that I am uncomfortable with this idea, but
I said we'll talk. Wasn't a yes or no. It's something we can bring up.
also we still have no idea if it actually exists.
That's true.
And I just had a very disturbing thought.
Ooh, say it. Those are the fun ones.
No, it's a long shot. Never mind.
I hate when people do that. You can't just.
I'm sorry.
It's the absolute worst for me specifically as a reporter when people go, "Oh, I have an idea." You don't get it anymore. I'm taking it away from you.
It was
It's
a
like
very...
offering me a plate of cookies and then going, "Ha ha ha," and snatching it away.
I'm just wondering if it...
If you're doing it again,
Maybe-
Val, can I have the cookies?
Would it help
Did
if we
you
started
ever-
guessing what you might be saying?
Did you ever read...
No, I.
So we're gonna randomly make these two short stories canon. Dr. Heidegger's Experiment or The Monkey's Paw.
What?
What are you talking about?
Katie, no. Just the thesaurus one of the words, and then we're good
I'm
to go.
sorry, no, but like, so the general concept is that it's something that grants your wish or gives you something, but it does it in a way that is objectively horrible.
Oh,
Oh.
like
Okay.
Like, you
like
wish
asking for money, but then I don't.
You
I don't
you
know.
wish for your brother to be brought back from the dead, but he is literally just a zombie with no consciousness, kind of a thing.
Oh,
Or like you wish for someone to be in love with you, but they're like married, so their spouse dies in a horrible accident.
Siri's
This-
eyebrows just start bouncing on her head, and she's looking at Micah when you say love.
no.
In a bad way. So
Stop. I-
maybe
Well, this spring seems like a jerk. I don't know anyone wants it then. This is
Well, we
asshole
don't know
spring.
if it does that yet. We don't know anything about it. It literally could just be a normal pool of water that an old man sits by and goes, "Yeah, it's just a pool of dreams." We know nothing.
Okay, well, at least for the 3 new visitors. Well, here's the thing, right? If this spring doesn't really exist, and maybe we'll just put a fountain in the middle of the village and tell them that's the spring, and people can chuck coins into it something.
Wait,
then-
I actually
there-
really
and then we
like
can
that.
pretend-
fountain.
And then maybe they'll go home and think that it works. Or
What if we do it to you? What if we do that? What if we go in the middle of the field, build a spring, and get them to believe it's the spring of dreams, you guys? I am so into this!
Then it's
can't we
going
just
to
do
have
that?
no effect.
Exactly, and we can use it as a tourist trap, and we can sell the water.
That is called
Right?
extortion, and that is lying. And
But
that
can't we
is
just
one
do
of
that?
the
And
things
then
that I can say is
but-
objectively bad.
But can't we just do that and then just like
You
put a
told me
couple of
last
fun like
Wait.
pitfalls and fun
No.
like pillars to jump over,
You
and then
told me
it'll be
last-
fun for the visitors and no one will get hurt.
Yes, I am so into this idea. Besides, Val, you said we had this whole conversation. You said that, like, I just know what I believe is right and wrong. I can't tell you what everything is right or wrong. Do you remember that? Because it happened like an hour
Yes,
ago.
not everything, but I can tell you that this one specific thing, I can tell you 100% that this is wrong.
It is fair to say that Val did lead a minor rebellion against a chauvinist in this town for doing something very similar. So she has a rather vested
Yeah.
opinion about this.
Okay, well, maybe we don't sell it. Can we at least sell it to them so they leave?
Yeah, just make a fake spring so when they find that easy to find one,
No.
then they stop. Why are
You do
you
this
saying
with
no
saints
immediately?
all the time. You're
Let me
taking
finish.
advantage of people's ignorance and belief in something and turning it into something that profits you but actively damages
Right,
them.
we don't need to make it profit. We just give them something that's easy to find, and then once they're disappointed, and then they
That
can
is
just
lying.
leave. But
That
they
is
we
Val,
don't want them here.
lying is wonderful. You should do it more.
I don't think lying is bad. It's if it keeps people safe, and because it seems like the spring. If you wish for something and then something bad might happen or probably will happen, then we're kind of keeping these people lying to keep these people safe.
For one thing, we have no concrete information on whether or not the spring exists or not. We know that this is a story that people have been telling, and it may have a grain of truth. But as of right now, we have no concrete information.
At this
Right.
point, the kettle starts whistling and Pyrie starts pouring each of you some tea. And she sits down with hers and she says, well, in my opinion, as a... I guess I'm nothing in this group right now,
I really
but
want to hear your opinion. I like you.
As my advisor.
can we say, yes, temporary advisor on the council.
Mhm.
My opinion is that why don't you just, if the people are looking for it, why don't you just work together and look for it?
Yes, but we
I
don't know
mean,
anything
yes,
about them. What if they're bad people? What if their wish is for the world to catch on fire?
I don't know.
She kind of looks at you, Micah, a bit and says, are there still people like that around here?
Look, there are some people that like to fling around fire spells. His name's Rupert. He's actually
We're
quite
not-
sweet. But you know, no one's trying to catch things on fire on purpose. There's a bad apple here and there, though. Just
Why don't you just talk to them and ask them what they want to do with it?
He seems okay. He seems to just.
Trusting strangers is not the best. Fine, if everyone wants to go make friends with the 3 random people who just stroll into our village, that's...
They're not.
Well, at
I
some
have-
point, us night people wandered into your village and it worked pretty well for us.
That is very true, but...
I think it worked pretty well for you because you have a very powerful princess now in command of your forces.
Yes, that is also very true, but not everyone is as nice as Micah. Are we going to assume everyone in the world is as kind and as good-hearted as Micah?
maybe, I don't know.
Oh, but you have to
kinda
give
nice.
people at least the option,
So maybe we could just
a
talk to
chance
them
to
and
do
ask-
good.
But
Or
then
they
they
s-
take that. Okay, that's fine. If that's what, if you guys think that's the best way to protect Miniry, then I will back you up.
Worst comes to worst, Michael will just punch an ogre.
Exactly, you've heard of it too.
Wait, have you heard of that?
Oh, I've been spreading that tale everywhere. Everyone knows about it.
Pyrie, you're supposed to be on
Yes,
my
I love
side!
that. I actually
Alright.
have a new one coming out. I should give it to you early so you can release it too.
Oh, I've already got a new one. It's that Princess Micah in love.
Oh, wait, what if... Okay,
Oh,
here's the
boy.
thing, though. That might make
I'm
things
gonna talk
awkward
to
and
the
then
3
the
people.
love
I
might
hate all
not
of you.
happen. Here's the thing, though. If we spread out that she's in love, it's going to make it harder for her to woo the person she's in love with because it's going to make things awkward. So we have
Also,
to wait on
I
that
would just
one.
like to say that Micah hasn't said that she is in love. She has a romantic interest in this person.
Just
Ari
an
just has the
interest.
silliest grin on her face.
Just a small interest in, you know, like, maybe... Let's go talk to the 3 people. Let's turn away the focus, please.
Ugh, fine.
Where are they staying?
They're back at the inn. So you know how you said don't scam them and get them to look at something else? Well, I already did that.
Yes, I know you already sent them on a wild, I suppose, ghost chase, not goose chase after this ghost cow. Who knows? Maybe they'll actually find the cow.
They believe the ghost cow?
They very
They bought it hook, line, and sinker.
The farmer believes it, even though he came to us and said a ghost stole his cow. I went back and watched the video and watched what the scene was for a frame of reference, and I literally just made shit up that had nothing to do with the first conversation. And the farmer
We just
bought-
took ghost and cow and you ran with it.
yes.
God, this is...
So, what's the plan?
So we will go talk to...
We're gonna go talk to
What is the
Akamu
3 people's
and
names? No one ever told me.
Dev
Yes,
and
I will let you know.
Okay.
So
no
you
idea how to spell
outside
any of these names.
to brave the terrible rains. You leave Pyrie behind.
Well, I like Pyrie. I think she should come with.
Pyrie, did
You
wanna
say it
come
to
with
her.
us?
She kind of just like pokes her head from the side and says, "Well, I was gonna do okay," and she just comes with you.
You took no convincing.
And she like she grabs this sort of leather cloak that she has and just kind of puts it over all 4 of you, so you're just huddled together, just desperately moving through the streets, and there's just streams of water flowing everywhere, so your feet are getting utterly soaked, unfortunately.
I hate the surface.
I hate the surface
Pyrie
too.
whispers into your ear, "You don't hate all of it."
I hate you now.
So you scurry along to the Blooming Bud Tavern, head back inside, take off the cloak. It is dripping with moisture. And yeah, there's still a bunch of people around still. Yeah, so for the strangers, Rami and Val are able to point them out to you, Micah. What you see two human men. One of them is a chap by the name of Akamu. He is a sort of his most sort of defining feature is that he has this slightly lightning striky scar on the right side of his face, and it's a bit green, as is his eye. And it is not green like gangrene; it is green like glowworm green.
Perfect.
And he is apparently partners with a man called Latzi, who's kind of like dressed up in fine silk robes. They inform me that he is somewhat of a tinkerer, an ex-scientist, and it's they're sort of a husband and husband team who roam around trying to solve arcana mysteries or problems wherever they go. And then finally, there's Des, who is a woman who is very tall, very bulky, lots of muscle, very impressive jawbone. And you don't actually know a lot about her yet. I don't think you've really chatted with her yet. But yes, those are the three strangers that you see.
I want to arm wrestle Des.
Would you like to do that?
What are they doing right now?
Right now, so they've already sort of warmed up and dried out around the fire. I think that Latzi is naturally the most sort of open person there, so he is just asking questions of the townsfolk, trying to cut through a lot of the fervor that has been created by Rami and get some of the facts down. He's got a little notebook that he's like scribbling notes in about this phenomenon. Meanwhile, Akamu is kind of like sitting at the bar. He's eating a meal, kind of keeps tugging on Latzi for now and then to remind him to actually eat something. And Des is kind of like sitting there, not really engaging with anybody, but just has a big picture and a bit of a smile on her face, just watching, just drinking every now and then.
Is Wuja here right now?
Wager, you don't see her, no.
Okay.
Actually,
Stop. I swear to God.
at this current time, you don't see her.
Okay. I am paying attention for her because I'm gonna point out to Tyler who she is.
Noted.
What did I do?
What did I do to deserve this?
What did
This
I
is
do to
Rami
deserve
trying to befriend you.
Oh God. Alright.
By setting her up on a.
We went on a date. It went kind of poorly. I got really drunk.
Baby,
It was a very sweet interaction, though.
Let's keep it in character.
Okay, yes. So, who wants to talk to whom?
So I already talked to the glasses one who you were immediately like, come tutor my child.
To Lotsie?
We could go ask. We could say that. What's our plan? What do we want? We want to go with them when they're trapping around looking for the.
I suppose.
Why don't we just say it that Blue is a great guide? Why don't we just say that as the action committee, it's our responsibility to make sure that people around here don't fall in a ditch and die, so we should come with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good angle. Yeah.
Be
Let's
pretty
do
bad
that.
for tourism if people come here looking for a spring and they all fall off cliffs and never return.
That's how ghost stories start.
Okay. You can do it.
Because we're all sitting here looking at.
We're all sitting
Just
there
like,
looking at
what?
Rami, just like, you can do it. We're kind of.
Me? I thought you wanted to arm wrestle the big one. Do you want to do that first?
I mean, I'll arm wrestle her later. I'm just like sizing her up, just like,
Okay, yeah, I just go over to the talking one there.
Okay, so yeah, Latzi, he's just kind of like asking questions to people. He's like, no, I need facts. Have you actually seen this thing? And Sora's like, well, I didn't see it per se, but when it comes to ghosts, do you really see it? It's more of an experience that you have. And Latzi says, no, but it is the seeing that I'm interested in. It really is. That is a very important component of it that I would very much like to get the details of. Thank you very much. Does anybody here have actual evidence, any sightings I could use here? No more hearsay. I've had enough of that, thank you. Oh, goodness.
It looks like you're hard at work over there.
Well, when you have strange paranormal phenomenon, it's always important to dive right in.
I know that we were talking earlier about your purpose here.
Yes,
and
I do remember you, but I forget your name. You have very memorable appearance, but the name, I'm afraid, escapes me. I've been introduced to a lot of people.
There's so many people in the village. Don't worry about it. My name is Rami Lawfred. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance once
He
again.
kind of like awkwardly puts his pencil into his book and just shakes your hand and says,
Yes, Mia and my friends over here are part of the action committee of the village council, and this is Micah. Say hi, Mai.
Oh, hi.
And we have Val
Hello.
over here, which you had an extensive conversation with them, and you seem blue. But here's the thing: is we're a bit worried about just letting people come in and wander through by themselves. We know the area a lot better, and we're worried you guys might be hurt without a guide. So when you go around looking for your, I forgot what exactly it was, but your
the Spring of Dreams or the Spring of Nightmares. One of the
Yes.
two, maybe both. Still trying to figure that part out.
We were going to offer, as our responsibility, we feel to help make sure it goes well and nothing happens to you while you're on our territory. So we were going to offer to come with you if you like.
That is extraordinarily generous of you. I certainly see no harm. More people coming along. It's forgive me, I didn't take you as the sort of the wilderness ranger types, but if you have expertise, I'm sure that Akabu and I would certainly love to benefit from it.
Not that expertise one, no, you got that right, it's Blue. Blue is
Oh, I see, yes.
extraordinarily skilled and has led us through many places. So many places. I ruined so many shoes.
Certainly. Well, we are no stranger to the dangers of the world out there, so, but we wouldn't say no to extra help. The more the merrier and such. More people to exchange ideas and theories with along the way.
Of course. Also, does your friend Dex do arm wrestles?
Well, neither Akabu or I offered when we first met her, so...
Oh, too bad. Micah is interested, and I would put money on Micah.
We, honestly, we haven't really known Dex very long. We only met her during our jaunt in Rosé, but she was kind enough to follow us back. I tried to fix up her hurdy-gurdy. It's a bit of a bad state. It was underwater for far too long. It still sounds terrible. I feel ashamed about the job I did on it.
Well, you gave it your all, and that's what matters.
Well, once I get some better supplies, I'm sure I'll be able to thank her for the help that she provided.
Of course. And I look at the others like, did we want anything else out of this conversation?
I guess when
It's
are
guy
you,
standing there blinking.
when are you going to explore this place and for how long?
Well, here's the problem. We don't exactly know where it is yet. But my husband is quite skilled in the art of finding things like this. So it's really a matter of time. Also, the storms, probably not the best time to travel. And I've already got work here between ghost cows and tutoring. I think we could probably stay for a while and see if we can get more concrete info.
Wonderful. Just send a message to us when you're ready to go exploring, and we'll make sure you don't fall off a cliff.
Lovely. Does your village have a library or some sort of
No!
repository of knowledge?
I hate libraries!
Oh, mommy.
You hate libraries.
It's a long story.
There's an article about it. It's from yesterday's paper. I'll send it to you.
So you like papers, but not books.
I hate papers. And
You
You
hate
hate
papers.
papers.
Okay, so
She-
we have you
she
hate
objects
books
to
and you
paper
hate
because it
papers.
is
I'm going to write this
flimsy.
down to keep all your properly checked. You hate papers. You hate books.
I
What do
hate
you
papers too.
Oh, okay. I hate papers too. What is your thing that you hate?
Scamming people.
What?
You just said
What
you
was
hated
that?
You hate scamming people. You had to throw some
I
out of the
guess, yes,
village.
Scamming
scamming people.
people.
I hate scamming people.
Okay,
Um,
in fairness, that would have been more understandable than the others, but I won't pry.
If you're looking for books, do I know who has like the largest collection, or is that gonna be me?
You, it's you.
Great.
Especially since Shauna just recently went on a book drive, essentially, and gathered a bunch.
The temple would be the place to go for the largest collection of books and materials on the region. It's not entirely complete. As
Oh.
if you're looking for
I have no expectations. It's simply a matter of seeing what's available.
Good. Because there might not be much.
It happens.
I guess what are you looking for exactly?
Well, the most important thing for us to find is anything that has a connection to the history of this place. So even things as legendary as fairy tales can sometimes have kernels of truth in them that we can follow in order to help cancel out potential areas of interest.
I have a strange question.
Mhm.
As far as the Spring of Dreams and/or Nightmares is concerned, was it ever associated with a specific deity?
No, not that I'm aware of, but that would be something I would definitely like to find out about. No, the most we have is that some old Vatazin culture did something to create it.
Wait, so which one? The fiery one, or the air one, or the one before that?
Yes, sorry, the precursor to the Vatasha and the Vata'an.
Okay.
The
I
Vatazin.
should know this. I'm one of them.
It's an easily forgotten part of history, and it's quite sad as well. Their extinction at the hands of the Sorcerer Kings is nothing to be happy about.
I look over at Micah, who hates that word, and seeing if she's okay.
Guess I'm okay
Sorcerer
with it.
Kings!
She's a little more chill about it. She's like, oh, I don't think they know, yes.
Pyrie is actually Sorcerer King is like, she just kind of grabs his shoulder and squeezes. He's like, they said Sorcerer Kings.
I know, but they said it so many times, but honestly, I haven't seen one yet.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Mary is so good. I love her.
Love her, yes. How extensive does Miniry have an archive? Do we have records?
No.
Awesome!
Your resources are very limited, and what stuff you do have is mostly garbage. And I don't mean that in I don't mean to be mean, but a lot of it is, I can write. Look at me write. There, I wrote a thing. It's like,
so
well,
it's like maybe some land deeds and
Probably
It's
land
land
deeds
deeds.
and
Taxes.
records and things like that. Like
land deeds and, I've heard of novels. I can write a novel.
oh no.
Yeah, a lot of
nice.
stuff to sift
A
through.
lot of fanfic art writers in this town is what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't go that far. It's tasteful, it's tasteful.
Is it like someone just wrote their diary and went, "This is history," but it's just really boring and it's just how they made
Yeah.
milk that day?
Legitimately, there is that book out there of just well, this will be very important. Scholars will look back and they'll need to know the history.
honestly, it's part of the historical record. So if there's no archival standards in this world.
It
I
also
can't quote anything.
there might be, but it's the kind of thing where there could be nuggets of truth here and there, but you have to sift through so much mundane, terribly boring, probably mostly false stuff.
Welcome to research.
Do you think the articles I write will get added to that belt someday, Val? Because that'll be hilarious. They're like 70% false.
Yes, I know.
Some people don't. It surprises me every time.
Yes, I know.
Somebody's just bought you a drink, Rami, just puts it in your hand, says, "Keep up the good work, community organizer."
Oh, thank you. I pour it out because I get drunk too fast.
Are you at all subtle about that, or you just kind of go, yeah?
There's many people. I feel like they're already crossing over. The minute their back is turned, I'm just like,
Lovely.
Okay, so
people
let
keep
us know.
giving me things. This is like the 10th time.
Guess I'm gonna have to go pull out the archival boxes and say, do we even have archival boxes? What does this look like?
You guys,
It's a
we have
bunch of very old ratty books organized on a shelf.
So, if there's nothing else, thank you for your time, and just let us know when you want to go search for the spring thing of nightmares.
and or dreams.
Yes. Well, thank you all for taking such interest in it. It's really makes me hopeful for that we might find something of worth. Lovely meeting you, Micah and Rami and Valerie.
Val.
Val.
Just Val.
Val. Forgive me. Yes.
And she'll just shuffle out and just like, okay, let's get out of here.
Yeah, before we leave though, I kind of want to figure out if, like, in our interactions with these people.
Want to do a bit of a vibe check?
Yes.
I would like to vibe check.
If you want to roll empathy, please do.
Can I assist? Can I
Perception.
help with her vibe checks?
Specifically, I am looking for anything that might tip me off that they have any connections to Jarzon.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna say no on the assist then because
Okay, yeah.
very specific. But the rest
Can I
of you
do a general are they secretly evil vibe check?
Yes, absolutely. Micah, did you want to do one too, or are you good?
Sure, I'll do a vibe check.
Yay!
Why not?
Can it? So it's just perception. Cool.
Just perception if you don't have the focus, yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't know.
But
Oh, boy.
Remy, I mean, for you, it's a case of you don't necessarily think they're up to no good, but you also have no reason to trust them. You are naturally acute when it comes to this kind of thing anyway. So you see, there's nothing that you picked up on where it's like, oh, they're definitely one or the other. It's just like, jury's still out.
Okay.
What did everybody else get?
I got a 10, so I'm just like, they'll just
Seems
let
cool.
us know. Yeah.
Yep.
13. Probably
13.
not much better.
There's nothing that alerts you to the fact of Jarzon people, though you have heard there are Jarzon spies just flooding the country right now, apparently, which is terrifying.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, did I know about that? That Jarzon spies are
Yeah.
Esmira
okay.
let you know earlier. And it's current events, but where you're from, your current events are always way behind because you're just so out of the way. So what's next?
I guess I'm heading home to check on.
Do you want to talk to either of the others, or are you good just talking to Latzi?
Has Wuji, how do I say her name? Has
Weija.
she shown up?
Weija.
Weija. Has Weija shown up?
I hate you.
She has not shown up yet, no.
Okay, we can all just go home now. Good night.
We
Do you
should
wanna arm
take a
wrestle?
walk near the lighthouse.
It is
That would be fun.
pouring rain right now. Why do you want to do? What about your shoes? Your shoes. Your shoes will get really wet. Huh.
You
Your shoes
never
are
cared ab-
already extremely muddy, Rami.
They are destroyed. I'll have to buy new
Mhm.
ones. It's too late. So sad. Might as well
Micah,
make
did
it
you still
worth it.
want to arm wrestle the large lady at the bar?
Sure. I think just like while people are talking, it's just like, you look really strong for a Silver's Dweller. Can we arm wrestle?
The guy like looks at you for a second, takes a swig of the pitch that she has, kind of puts it back, and says, "All right." Boom.
Boom!
Yeah, awesome. Let's call this best 2 out of 3 in mic checks.
Okay. First one.
So you start. There's people immediately. A crowd gathers around and starts sort of looking at this, very important moment that's happening. They go, oh, look, the captain of the guards arm wrestling! Quick, everybody, quick, place your bets,
Wait,
place your
I'm not-
bets.
It's fine. It's just.
Just
a
over
friendly
here,
match.
come place the bets!
Wait, what?
And suddenly there's a crowd surrounding you, all eyes on you in this place. And yeah, Des is just smiling at you, and you clap your hands together and start shifting each other's weight, and you slightly push her to one side. Make another check.
Okay. Second was a 13.
You two are absolutely locked right where you are. You can see that she's desperately trying to get one over on you, but she can't quite overcome that force that you are just summoning from within you. Let's make another one. Tiebreaker.
Oh, that's a 22.
Oh! Whoa!
Plus 6
With
stunts!
6 stunt points.
No!
Holy crap!
If you would like to spend 6 stun points,
Can I?
feel free to.
I would like to spend 6 stunt points not to break the table.
Done. Okay.
Okay, or
That's
only
fine.
how about like this? Crack the table slightly.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So she's putting up in a very, very good fight. I don't think you've ever arm wrestled somebody for this long. But soon enough, you can see that her the sort of tiredness just sets in. You take advantage of it and just slowly, bam, onto the ground, onto the bar rather, and just crack. A rather nasty smack on the ground, but it only leaves a small mark, and just kind of pulls up her hand like,
Sorry,
nice
are you
one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, fine, don't worry about it. And she like claps you on the shoulder like, you're real strong.
And you're really strong for, again, a surface dweller, if that's not too bad of an insult. What do you do?
I don't know what it means.
Oh, okay. Well, it means people who live on the surface and all of that. It's nice to meet you, though. What do you do?
Nice.
Do you lug around books of stone too, or no? Is that also paper?
Don't really. What do? I kind of just roam around a little bit. Had a few jobs here and there, always on the move, sort of. Guess I'm a bit of a vagabond.
Okay.
What do you do?
I guess I'm kind of the guard, except I kind of stumbled into this, and here I stay, I guess.
Ooh, can you help me stumble into something?
What
Had
do
a bit
you-
of a string of bad luck lately.
Such as, I guess I can help.
Let's see. First, I lost my family to Chaos Beast. That was a bit rough. So then I went north to Jarzon. Had a bit of trouble there. Saw some bad things. Decided to hop on a boat, get out of there soon. Then the boat sank. I don't think anybody else made it but me. Then I washed up on the shore, and then some people found me, and then they all got sick, so I kept moving. And then I found these two. Bit of a bringer of bad luck, it seems, but hopefully that's all over now.
Oh. Okay.
You were in Jarzon?
She kind of like turns to you and goes, "Oh, hello." Yeah.
Sorry, what were you doing in Jarzon?
I was trying to get out of the Shadow Barons, mostly, and I
Did you-
succeeded.
When were you there last?
In Jarzon,
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of lost track of time after the whole ship sinking business. What's probably a couple of months? No, longer than that.
What did you see there?
You can see she immediately gets quite uncomfortable when you mention that. She's like, well, all sorts of things.
What are they
It's-
doing?
Hmm?
It's another Inquisition.
I don't know what that means, but no, it's fine. It's just they really like playing with fire there. Didn't appreciate it a whole lot, so I went on the ocean where there's less fire.
Wait, there's actually a place that's always on fire? I was making
No,
a
no,
joke.
no. It's not always on fire. It's just well, They kinda-
Awful.
they got this one person, said they did some stuff, and kind of strapped them to a log, and then kind of set the log on fire.
What?
It was just bad business all around.
What? Is this not murder? Should we go to Jarzon and stop this?
No.
Hello?
No.
Well, that's the law around there.
It is?
Sometimes
Why
people
can't
make...
why can't we fix it? What is what?
Because they will kill us.
I guess, but why are they just setting people on fire? That's not a good thing either. I
Yeah, I
mean,
didn't stick around to ask. Just kind of left.
okay.
Stowed away, actually. Glad they didn't burn me for that one.
That's pretty
Good job not getting burnt, though. That's impressive.
Yeah, a lot has happened to me, but I haven't got burnt.
I just turned to Pyre, don't go to Jarzon, because apparently we'll get lit on
She
fire.
is just her face hasn't moved for the past minute. She's just like, okay, I think we made a bad idea. I think we did it wrong.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Told you about the
Who
other
Birds
country.
people.
I don't know. I think they might be far. How far away is Jarzon? Is it like the next town over?
Then again, maybe it's not that different when we bury those people in the ground, just as a matter of law.
I
That's a
mean,
bit rough.
see, the people who were buried in the ground probably deserved it, okay? But still, like, no one wants to like take a rock to their head, so just put them underground. It's fine. Still, we haven't done that in forever. It's fine. Lighting people on fire—that's a different story.
Anyways,
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're not in Jarzon, because Jarzon sucks.
Okay. I mean, still, here's the thing. Like, okay. Well, I'm glad you're
Are
here. What did you need help with? Was the help that you needed avoiding this place that sets people on fire?
No, I think I've done a pretty good job at that. I just need a paying job. Don't really have one. Bit of a musician,
Fantastic.
but that's about it. Good at moving box, good at fishing, good at nets.
Oh,
Ozzy would love you.
Oh yeah.
if you're okay with boats,
Well,
then-
I'm okay with boats. Boats are okay with me. That's what I don't know.
Oh, well.
I mean, is every boat you've ever been on sunk? If we put it like a
Yes.
rowboat.
Oh,
How many boats have you been on?
Just one.
So we don't know if everyone. We can test it out with a rowboat, send it out and see. If that sinks, then you have an issue. If not, then it's just coincidence. It's just bad luck.
I haven't thought about it that way.
Ozzy is Ozzy really suspicious or superstitious, I should say?
Yes, you know who
Okay.
he is, yes.
I
Ozzy
think
might
I'm gonna just
suspect
pause and
that.
say, if you want to train some of my other guards, because they're starting to complain about lugging around my books all the time for strength training, we'd be happy to just I'd be happy to just have you over for some time and you can whip him into shape, I suppose.
Oh, great. Is this a paid position? I'm good at
I mean,
stabbing
the-
chaos beasts with a spear, but that's about it.
The guards
What's a
get paid,
chaos
don't
beast?
they?
You get paid.
So
Yeah,
what was...
I would assume that it's a paid position, yeah.
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 We'll make room in the budget, right, Rami?
Oh, I love talking to our budgeter.
Well, we'll hire you
so-
out for
Yeah.
a few lessons because I don't think I don't have any experience with chaos beasts, and it'd be good training for the guard.
Yeah, you don't have any chaos beasts around here, do you?
I don't
Is
know.
a chaos beast.
Yeah, what's a chaos beast?
That's a little hard to define. They're basically... If you just take a bunch of people and squish them together and turn them all inside out, that's kind of a chaos beast, I guess, but they change every now and then. Then they scream with the voices of the people they've eaten, that's a bit rough. You probably know if you had them around here.
What? What? Can
Oh
you
yeah,
say
Shadow
that?
Baron's... Shadow Baron's terrible place, don't go there.
Where is the Shadow Baron on the map? Just like
You know that it
Very
is
far
south
south.
of Jarzon. And if
south
you
of
want to, you can
Jarzon.
do history, or any of you can do checks if you would like to know more.
Can I do cultural lore?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
Sure.
I don't know what's worse. I don't know. Honestly, the chaos beasts, like what I am imagining right now, or Jarzon in general. Like,
Maybe we can send the
Um,
Chaos Beast to Jarzon and it can solve all our problems.
Rami, you know that the Shadow Barons, there's nobody there because it is the vestige of a civilization that became the Romers. Basically, their homeland got utterly obliterated by very foul sorcery, and it's been a doomed, cursed shadow plane ever since. And people who live there generally don't do so by choice and quickly try to leave. But it is
So-
ruled by dark fiends. It's a terrible place.
Then there might be some worse to the fact she's cursed if she lived in the shadow.
Yes, actually, with that roll, yeah, you actually there might be some
I like
good.
pull Val. I'm like, look, you might want to doctor that, and I just point at her. I think she
Do
might
you-
legitimately be cursed.
okay, what is the standard procedure when you think someone is cursed within this
this is a
universe?
bit outside your field. You're more sort of disease and injuries, but
Yeah.
you can make a sorcery lore test, which if you don't have
Okay.
is just intelligence.
Meanwhile, Michael's just
17.
like, yeah, come on board. We'll totally hire you on for like a lesson or
Do I
two.
get a little badge?
Well, I don't think you get a badge, but maybe I can make you like a nice hat as like a training instructor or something.
Oh yes. So Val, when it comes to curses, curses are in that kind of frustrating realm with corrupted items of no two are the same. Typically, you know that there's the connection between corruption and people rising as undead. But beyond that, a curse is typically something that is inflicted upon you by a person, but it absolutely can be something that is picked up from residual, let's call it bad energy. if you believe that this person is indeed cursed in that way, you are no expert in how to break something like that, but you would need a, official priest to sort it out.
Yeah, okay. So I'll turn back to Rami. I'm just like, I don't know 100%, but we'll see. We will just see. I don't think she's cursed necessarily, but
We're trusting in a lot here by letting her in our town. I'm whispering this, so it's just her letting someone who is from the Shadow Barrens and has and has been on boats that sunk, and everywhere she goes, things go terrible. We're trusting a lot that things won't go terrible here, that there is no curse when we know magic is real and does weird fucking things all the time.
Rami? Never mind.
No, you did it again! Stop giving me cookies and taking them away!
Cookies?
You
Who said
screamed
cookies?
that?
Yeah, everybody wants to know what cookies are. Cookies!
Oh, yes! Someone will be making them later! Don't worry about it, darlings!
I'll tell you later.
Wonderful! Now seems great. And I lock arms with you.
Okay, do you drag me somewhere or is...
No, I'm not that strong. I literally just clomp on your arm.
Okay. Could we, maybe give me an hour and then we will gracefully leave this situation and then we will go back to my place and we will discuss this.
Fine.
I don't think Micah's hearing it. She's still talking to Des, just
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so, the training measurement thing.
Because there's one other thing that I need to do, and I turn back to the group.
Is it getting Ricard, who also knows a lot about magic?
Okay, fine.
Actually, I can grab him. I should probably apologize, because I apologize to both of you guys for yelling, and I don't think I apologized to Ricard.
I think you showed up at his house.
And I didn't apologize
then
then. I think
almost-
I just do this for me.
Yeah.
And by the way, try to be less manipulatable.
He was like, the apology.
I
Be more
still need-
manipulative.
So I still have to do the apology. That was coming up.
Got it. Yeah, Des says to you, Micah, she's just like, right, well, looking forward to it. Don't entirely have a regime sorted out, but we'll figure it out. You just really thrust real hard. That's the trick.
Okay,
You just
maybe I could set up a training dummy. How big is it usually?
Chaos Beast depends how many people they've eaten.
Oh,
Let's say 3. How big is it?
It'll be about kind of raises up her arms in an amorphous shape about her size.
okay. I'll get
that's
Suna
really
on it to make
big.
a good start training dummy pretty soon then. Sounds good.
And you can hear that there's a villager next to you, Micah, who's like, right, so if you beat... No, wait. Ozzy beat you at the rock throwing at the festival, and then you beat this lady at arm wrestle, that means that Ozzy is the most strong. And immediately someone else is like, no. See, that rock thing didn't count. She was clearly having a bad day, or Ozzy was having something lucky. No. We can't do it that way. We need to get all of them in the same room doing a series of strength exercises to really truly know who the strongest is around here. And then everyone's like, a bunch of strength exercises? No, you gotta make a contest out of it. Also, how many ogres has Ozzy defeated? That's what I want to know.
0.
was like, Here's the thing. Here's my opinion. Here's what I have to say. If Micah can punch an ogre, she is stronger. I don't care how many rocks get thrown either way, one way or another.
I have a fan club. What the fuck?
I believe in our god captain, and I know she's here for a good reason.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I would like to talk to Akamu
Please do.
while this is all going on.
What would you like to say?
So I'm just gonna go up to it. So, I have heard of you, to some extent.
Yeah?
Oh. The Shadowgate thing, yes.
Yes, that was me. Not the best celebrity status, but that's how it goes.
I mean, it's impressive.
I'm surprised somebody this far out had heard of something like that. Do you have
I've
some kind of
traveled a
training?
lot.
Okay.
But how did I gestured to like this? Like, how did this happen?
Well, it's a bit of a rough story. It's I was at the Royal Academy. My brother and I were doing a lot of research into shadow gates, some of the practice of which was not necessarily looked upon well by many people, so we have to keep our research quite secret. Don't know how much you know about shadow gates, but they're very hard to close. And the way you do it is usually by overloading them with arcane force. My brother had a theory that we could create a feedback loop that would be more reliable and create less destruction upon completion. It sadly backfired, and he lost his life that day. And I have a wound, sure, but it's superficial compared to that.
I mean, so I know basically nothing about sorcery or shadow gates. I'm originally from Jarzon, so.
Far from home.
Well, yes, but I was wondering if you wanted. I am a healer, so if you wanted me to take a look at if there's anything that can be done.
It's been thoroughly healed. I would have to get my face shaped to fix it, and at this point, I don't really see the necessity. But thank you for the offer. Appreciate it.
No problem.
You have a lovely village.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see it when it's not covered in rain.
That would be nice. So your husband, correct?
Yes.
I did ask him to come over for a bit to tutor my daughter. Just so you know. But if you or he need anything during your stay here, just let me know.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's good to know. What was your name?
I'm Val.
Akamu.
Nice to meet you.
Well, it's getting pretty late. We should probably get our room sorted here, figure out what we're gonna do.
I need to head home. It was wonderful meeting you.
You as well. Take care.
You too. And I head out the door and I give Rami a look like, okay, now we can go.
I'm in. Oh, you're muted,
Oh.
Nebby.
That was not an hour. That was 5 minutes. Okay, before I leave, did Wuja ever appear?
No, she did not.
Okay,
Wait, no, she did.
Oh, I told this!
Oh!
Sorry, I was too caught up. During the sort of chaos of the actually, why don't you make a seeing test, Rami, and you get a +2 to this because you did explicitly say that you're waiting for a wage.
wonderful. That'll make it a +4. I got 12 + 2, which is 14 + 4 step points.
Oh wow, nice. So what do you think of those? You notice that Wasia casually strolls in, soaking wet, obviously, and this is during Micah's arm wrestle, and it is kind of just as she, bam, slams her opponent's fist down, that Wasia comes in and just kind of like sees and goes, oh.
Can
And then sort of
use my stunt point to
yes.
sway the crowd and make Micah look cooler?
Go on.
So, let me read what it does first. You affect one additional person of your choice past the original target. You may use a stunt multiple times in the same roll. However, I guess I can't because I wasn't affecting anyone.
Well, no, let's say you can make a roll to sway the crowd, and then depending on how well you do, that's how many people you will affect.
Okay, yeah, seeing
You can
Micah...
make a morale roll if you would
I can
like.
make a morale roll!
Oh my god!
Seeing that, yeah, I am going to launch in a speech. There is a group of people talking over who's strongest, and I'm just going to step on that table and be like, if you want to know who the strongest is, you already have seen her, seen the way she's protecting our village, seen how she's helped us all, and we're here debating on what she's done. She's not even from Miniry, and yet she defends it as her own. That, my friends, is strength that we should support.
I'm so embarrassed.
Beautiful. Make your roll.
I'm so glad that Micah didn't hear that, because I'm embarrassed for
I got
her
a
in real
20!
life.
You got a.
You got a 20?!
My god.
That's so much.
And 5
Alright.
stunt points.
And 5 stunt points if you want to spend
Oh,
those.
Can I get a new friend out of Pyrie?
Absolutely.
Oh
yes.
my
I
god,
think
you guys are the worst!
as you're making this speech, slowly more and more people look up to you. They start getting a bit misty-eyed, seeing your sort of devotion. Also getting a point of conviction, because if this isn't devotion via nurturing, I don't know what is. And you have this amazing speech. Everybody looks up, tears forming in their eyes. Some proud people. You can see there was somebody who was about to actually you by saying she lost the stone throwing contest. But then you throw in true strength is defending this place. It's not even her own home, and they slowly lower their finger once again and start to realize, oh no, she's so right. And there is just a swelling of pride over dear sweet Micah, the guard captain, and people start to hoist you up and lift you up. It's a bit tricky, but then Des comes in and helps, and then you go straight up in the air, and everybody's just chanting, Micah, 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 Micah. And you see Wager is just looking at this entire thing, just folds her arms, just leans against the wall, and just starts nodding very slowly.
At that point, I take Puri, and I'm like, that's the one right there.
She looks, and she says,
I need to leave this town.
and she just kind of grabs you and jumps up and down giddily.
Oh god, my arm is breaking!
I need to leave this town. I need to leave this city.
And with that, let's take our break.
I need to flee into the night.
We'll have a brief intermission before we dive back into
Jesus
things.
Christ. Oh my god, I hate this so much.
Stay
Eyes
with
are
us.
watering.
And there will be more fun times to be had. We'll be right back, everybody.
Alright, we'll be back, guys.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
Let's dive right back into everything.
Yeah.
So, where we just left off, it's a terrible storm. Everybody's nestled in at the Blooming Bud Tavern, and Rami and Val just left, and they wanted to have a conversation with each other. So let's have a look at how that goes.
Alright, so you have a cookie you fucking owe me, Val.
Real quick, so you just exited into the rain, and now you're having this conversation in the rain, or are you going somewhere?
I think we're
I'm
gonna
walking.
pick up Ricard, right?
Okay, so you're gonna go to his place.
Yeah. Well, he's still in the bar.
No, he actually left.
Oh, well, I would like to have the first part of this conversation without Ricard, so we're gonna do this now.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna lower my voice and just.
Well, lower it relatively, because you have to talk quite loud over the rain.
Okay, I just pull her into like an overhang. So
Okay.
listen. Okay, in order, if she is cursed, in order to, we would need a real priest.
What? Hey, Val, you confessing something to me?
Listen, I showed up here and I chased off this con man and I started doing the whole healer thing. And so I set up shop in the temple. And it turned out that no one was taking care of it and no one knew what they were doing about it. So I just started taking care of it. So then people started coming to me and asking me to do all of the holy days and the rituals and things like that. I
So
never
you're-
lied to them. It just happened.
Isn't not telling information and letting people believe something kind of like a lie?
They know I am not a priest.
Do they? They know so little. They say... I heard about Seaweed Man. How much do these people really know, Val?
Listen, they needed someone to fill this role and it just turned out to be me, okay?
Oh no, I'm here for it. It's a con, but I'm here for it.
I don't...
But we should call it what it is.
I don't think of it as a con, is the thing.
Were you trained as a priest?
Do you know how things work in Jarzon?
Okay, out of character, one of my siblings is from Jarzon.
Okay. Do you talk to them a lot?
Yeah, I talked to Irving a decent amount. He believed we were like family, so yeah. He was
Okay.
brought in after Izzo.
Right. I think Jarzon is his specialty, where yours is Aldous. So you
Mhm.
probably know enough things to get by, but I don't know how deeply you know things. If you would like, you can make a culture check.
Sure, I will do that. But it's like, I'm not going from nothing. That's...
Yeah, right. Yeah, no matter what, you won't be going from nothing.
Wow, I hated him, I guess. I did not
But
listen
not
to
from
anything
much.
he said.
I think
let me
Irving-
roll one of
You want to
those
spend
ones.
conviction? Go for it.
Yeah. More just because, like, I feel bad for not listening to him when he talks now. Like, this is... Okay, that's
Okay.
better than a 1.
That's a 10 total,
Yeah.
which is fine. Yeah, you know the rudimentary things about Jarzon. You have maybe slightly more insight into the political side of things,
Mhm.
but it's very mixed up with the theocracy, so it's one and the same with its religious aspects. Let's see. You know a decent amount. You know that it is a fairly strict system that does not necessarily treat everybody equally. There are definitely those who have far more power, and it is kind of accepted that they are the ones who need to wield it. What else? Anything major I'm missing, Val?
Would she know that women are not allowed to be priests?
Yes.
I know that you wouldn't be allowed to be a priest because they fucking suck.
But it's very easy to believe that, like, you didn't like how it worked in Jarzon, so you came to Aldous, became a priest, and that was that. So
Right,
that's probably
yeah.
what people assume.
So did you get
Yeah.
training in Aldous for priest stuff? Or no, you didn't, because you just told me that
No.
you just showed up here. Val Cooper, look at you! You're such a liar!
And Shanna, her acolyte, is training to be a priest, so there's a bit of funny stuff there.
You know, I'm here for it. I 100% support you in your conniving, lying ways. You're
That's
helping
what you want to
people.
hear from a friend? I support you when you're being an asshole.
I don't want to be a priest.
Then don't. Why not just say it? That's an easy solution.
Because this is what they expect. This is what they need. Their needs are bigger than mine.
Yeah, but they're expecting something you don't have the training for. So can you actually provide it? What
I
they're
have the training. Technically speaking.
Then what's the problem? If you have the training, so what? It's not certified? Whatever. That doesn't matter. Nothing. Something like that. I can fake you a certification if that's what you need.
No, everything is rather laissez-faire here anyways, so no one's ever asked. I mean, but as far as things like how to lift curses and things like that, I was never taught that. I have never had the opportunity to learn that. I don't know how to deal with that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for trusting me with that. It won't go on the paper. You don't have to worry. Val, if it makes you feel better, I don't think what you're doing is wrong.
It makes me feel a little better, but
You also it's me, so it doesn't make you feel that much better. I get it.
no, what I was going to say is that ultimately when you hold it in judgment, what would the gods say?
Who cares? They're not here.
I do.
Well, they're not here right now. What matters is Miniry. Miniry is what's here, and Miniry needed something, and you provided it for them. These people might be kind of stupid, but they're good people, and they really try their best, and I don't think you're hurting anyone. You're helping them, so why is that a problem?
I don't know. It's
If you want proper training, why not just, like, write a letter to a priest and ask for help? That's an option.
it's not an option for me.
Why?
People cannot know I am here.
Why?
Please roll Wild Arcane.
Shit.
Yeah.
You're trying to
Okay.
beat 15 with a discipline.
That's
Oh,
check.
nice. Good job.
You got 17.
Okay, yeah.
You feel something roil up inside you, and you resist it. Now your Wild Arcane is up to 3.
Shit. It's just better if people don't know that I am here.
You have so many secrets.
Oh, and you're one to talk? What's going on with you?
What do you mean? Nothing's going on with me.
Your migraines, you're snippy. It was more than just pain.
Told you I got a letter from my father. What more do you want?
I would like to be able to help you.
I don't know. I don't think they can be helped. It's just something that's a flaw in me.
It's not just the headaches. Whatever else is going on. You dig up a lot of people's secrets, but you don't tell anyone else what's going on with you.
What do you mean? I talk constantly about how much I hate libraries.
Yes, I know.
It's a very big part of my life. It's such a trauma, Val. Such a huge, huge trauma on my soul.
It's the weirdest stance to take. Such a hill to die on.
Am I buying this?
You can make
Deception.
a empathy test, but she gets deception and she's extremely good at it.
16. Okay, I'll
Jesus,
keep
God damn it.
Val, you can roll conviction if you want to try and do better. If you truly
I
think
can
that you
also roll conviction.
That
I
is-
got a 1.
It's also true. It's up to you.
Nope. Exactly the same result.
I got a +1 though to mine, so it's 17.
Yeah,
Oh,
Val, there is something just so there's so much zeal in her hatred of libraries. You chalk it up to another one of the secrets she's not telling you of just like, oh, something clearly very bad happened with a library, but you will never know.
This is what I get for making my cover story up as the game goes on, instead of like actually writing one. Let's go back to you though. You have a strange man in your house that you can't talk about. Not won't, can't. You aren't an actual priest. You can't tell anyone, and you can't ask for help for priests, because no one can know you're here. You're from a patriarchal bullshit place. You have a lot going on, don't you? Are you wanted there? Is that it?
Question for the DM.
Mm-hmm.
Roll before.
Mm-hmm.
Would she know that I would not have been allowed to have children?
No.
Okay. It's not necessarily that I'm wanted there.
Why'd you leave?
I left because of Hannah.
Yeah, I could understand not wanting your kid to grow up there.
You can't. Women who have magic in Jarzon. There's two options if any person has magic in Jarzon. Either you can swear not to use it, or you're trained to become a priest or a matron.
Ah.
And as a woman, you're trained as a matron, and you're put in a convent, and you never leave.
Oh.
You cannot marry and you cannot have children.
I see. Well, that must be a hell of a love story then.
I will never talk about Hannah's father with you.
I was just trying to make it lighter. You don't have to tell me that. You don't even have to tell me everything you've told me. Clearly, you have a bunch of shit going on. And have you gotten to talk to anyone about this? Or is this just something you've had to hold? Since you've come here.
No one else knows about it.
That fucking sucks. Yeah, I feel for you. Trying to keep that much of yourself hidden from everyone isn't fun.
So, I'm worried that if I get any training to become a priest, word of some Jarzani refugee in the far north who has a child who matches my description, whatever, would get back and they would come.
Don't say you're from Jarzon. It's a very simple solution. Just say you're from the other place. There's another place. I lived there for a while. What is it called? No, not that one.
Aldous?
No, I didn't.
Rosea?
Latya?
I lived in Latvia for a while. Yes. Why not just say you're from Latvia?
Because
You don't-
I would like to keep the lying to a minimum.
Yeah, that's where you lost me. If you're lying already, we can fix this by lying some more, get you the proper training that you should have already had that was denied from you for no good reason. We can fix it all with a simple lie. It's to help you. People believe what they want. No one is going to assume you're from Jarzon. You can just say whatever you want and people will buy it, and that is okay.
It doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why.
Why? What does it hurt? Who are you hurting with that lie? You're only helping people.
Because there's more to it that I can't tell you.
Again, with the cookie, you just keep dingling it. You just keep holding it up and being like, "Oh, Remy, I have all these lovely secrets. Don't you want them?" No, never for you.
There's a crack of thunder.
Let's talk with Ricard and see what we can figure out with what we have. And you know what? There are other solutions. Maybe I'll become a priest and I'll break in and get you some bugs. Who knows?
The day that you become a priest is the day that I eat someone's shoes.
There's very little you know about me, pal.
See, now you're doing it.
I know, but it's fun when I do it. And I walk ahead of her.
I follow.
Okay, you both splosh through the water-laden streets, and you quickly make your way to the top floor area of where Ricard is currently staying. Before we get there, Micah, what are you up to at the moment?
After I get down from people's shoulders because they lifted me up, and then Rami literally just like left and Val, and I'm just like sitting here, just like, wait, guys.
It's been a whirlwind. You don't know what's been happening.
I'll just walk Pyre back to her place. She's probably still just like. So I'm just like, nope.
She's a little bit, but then you realize she points to Wager, who you now only just notice, and she says, "You gonna talk to her?"
Well, later, okay? Not. Go away, you're so annoying.
Okay, but she's standing at the door. It's gonna be so awkward if you don't talk to her.
Okay, I will just get out of here. Go away.
Okay, bye.
I like how she just like lies on the floor and people just like walk over her.
She's fairly squat for a night person, so she just ducks out.
Literally. Yeah. Hi. Sorry about that. Did you want to talk, or I didn't mean to do? It was Rami's fault. It's all Rami's fault.
I think that was quite incredible.
Okay. So how have you been? Crazy weather we're having. Shit.
She kind of raises an eyebrow and she says, "I just wanted to track you down and see what the plan for tomorrow would be."
Oh, you mean for training, or did we plan something? I kind of forgot. Sorry, I just got back in town. I was at home for a bit.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yes, I was talking about training. It doesn't look like the rain's gonna let up anytime soon, but I won't let that stop me if it doesn't stop you.
No, I'll be there. Yeah. I think my schedule's a little clear, and probably not at my place because there's like a prisoner there and all that. So yeah, maybe yours.
Okay, looking forward to it.
It sounds good. Okay. And maybe after training we can do something else that's not training or something of this
Like
sort.
what?
I don't know. If it's still raining, we could do some other stuff, like go like hang out at the tavern and just talk a bit
She
about
kind of
things,
looks around at the tavern that you're currently in.
or somewhere else. I don't know. Is there a good spot to actually just like hang out? I don't know. This is a very small town.
She leans a bit close to you and she says, "Have you ever been up the lighthouse?"
I don't think so. I mean, that's usually that's where you live, so you would know.
But, well, I guess I'm too used to little Zuz going around climbing things. I meant before I moved into the lighthouse.
Oh, not at all. I was a little overwhelmed when I got here, but no.
It's a pretty beautiful sight if you want to come up there and we can get some drinks,
Okay.
play some cards. Do you know how to play cards?
Yeah, Sarik taught me.
Oh.
He taught me like a strip version as well, so but maybe that's not what you're talking about. But yeah, I know how to play cards. I know some rules.
Sounds like you got some things you can teach me.
God damn it, guys! I hate you guys so much. I see your faces. I'm feeling really awkward right now. I'm just flashing back to my awkward high school Cindy. I hate it a lot. Thank you.
You're doing good. You're doing so good.
I hate you guys so much.
They're acting as Pyrie right now, just like ding in the background.
And I'm just like, get out.
So tomorrow, my place, bit of training, bit of drinking, bit of fun afterwards.
Yeah, sounds good. I'd really like that. Yeah, sounds good. Yay.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Okay, bye. Or, yeah, see you later. And she'll leave, and she's just like, I fucked that up so bad. I fucked that up so bad.
You don't even feel just the deluge of rain that's falling on you as you go outside.
She's just like standing in the rain, just like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I done?
Pyrie kind of like opens the door to the tavern, just kind of looking at you, just going, "What did I do? What did I do?" And she's just like, "Are you okay?"
No, I'm not okay. Just go to Pyrie. Just go home. I haven't to. I think it's.
Okay, I'll just go home.
I hate you so much.
Love you too. And she scampers off into the night.
I hate myself so much in real life. Oh my god, I hate you guys so much in real life. So much.
Does Micah head back to the guardhouse and
We
turn
love you,
in?
Cindy.
I hate you guys so much. Oh my
You
god.
did so good though. That was really adorable.
I am cringing so hard. I haven't been this unsmooth since I was. I never got smooth, but still, I didn't need to be reminded of my unsmoothness.
So is Micah sticking around? Is she going somewhere?
No, probably just going back to the guardhouse, winding
Great.
down, making sure nothing's on fire, sitting inside.
It's been a long day for you. So that's perfectly understandable. Yeah, so jumping back to the others, you head up the stairs going to Ricard's place, and you knock on the door. You wait a bit, and you wait a bit, you wait a bit, you wait a bit. You knock again, and then he comes to the door, and he opens it up. As he opens it, there's a little gust of wind blows his glorious, soft ginger locks, just kind of flowing like he's underwater. He's also wearing this very nice, just bathrobe right now. It looks like he's probably turned in or is getting ready to go to sleep. And he says, "Hello."
Hello! We have something important to talk about, but first, I apologize to everyone else, and I never apologized for you. I'm really sorry for yelling at you. That was really mean, and you didn't deserve it. You've been nothing but nice to me. I'm sorry.
Ricard kind of looks to you, Val, as if to ask, "What do I do here?" You're wet and should come in.
Yes, thank
And
you.
he looks
I'm
at you,
very
Val,
kind.
like that. Was that right?
Okay, I was just like, okay, yeah.
When I was a kid, when I acted up, that meant people would ignore me and avoid me for a couple days afterwards, and I think I was just hoping if I yelled at you guys, you would leave me alone for a little bit. Didn't really work out that way.
When I seek solitude, I leave.
Yes. I tried that, but people keep coming up to me and giving me things. Like, people hand me wine, beer, people hand me fruit baskets, and I don't know what to do with it because I'm halfway worried it's poison, so I just throw it away.
Fascinating.
'Cause,
I
you
do
know,
not suffer the same problem.
well, if you ever want a maybe poisoned basket of scones, I'll pass it over.
My initial assumption would be that these things are a gift of gratitude and of friendship and not of assassination attempts.
Yes, but some of my gossip is kind of mean, so I always have to worry about the second one.
Have you considered not having mean gossip?
No, I have not.
Fascinating.
There's a reason for it, though. So small towns are very vicious. And here's the thing. People are going to talk anyways. If I can control the rumors and keep them contained, then I can stop it from going too far. But sometimes that requires a rough fist, and I have to be a little mean to keep things under control.
I don't understand why you're saying these things to me.
Because I'm apologizing and we're having a conversation.
I see. This is an apology. Forgive me, I am not well versed in apologies. I don't know how they necessarily should go.
Don't worry about it. I'll probably do it a lot. And then I sit down. Yeah, we have a real reason for being here. The apology was my reason, but Val's here too. And that is because someone may be very cursed and that could ruin a lot of stuff.
Oh, fascinating.
Do you know anyone who specializes in removing curses?
Personally, my assumption was that that was under your jurisdiction.
I've heard of her specialties. Val is better at healing than curse removing.
But surely there's some degree of training.
No, that wasn't what she focused on. The point is we need someone else, someone who has more of a mastery on it. Would you know anyone of that kind?
I don't know many people. I could...
Didn't you go to a magic school or something?
I did, yes.
Did any of your magic school friends remove curses?
I didn't really have any friends.
Oh.
Oh, fuck.
I knew this, like, Val knew this already, so she's just like, oh, god damn it.
That's really sad.
Yep.
Oh, did any of your acquaintances know how to remove curses?
I'm sure there are letters to colleagues I can send out to
Perfect!
get more information.
Well, you should do that!
I'm also no stranger to sorcerous doings myself. I can look in and lend a hand.
That would be appreciated, yes. I mean, honestly, wouldn't Akamu have picked up on if she was cursed or not?
It's difficult to
Now that
say.
I'm thinking-
If they were traveling together, yeah, you should probably ask them.
I just thought about, like, sorcery. I'm like, oh, there's a connection there.
I was not intending to stay with guests tonight, but if there's anything I can do to help accommodate you, let me know. Otherwise, I shall return to my work.
What you working on?
He kind of like gestures over to an area where he's got a couple of candles lit in various manuscripts, various books, and he says, I've been looking into the talisman. I believe I have effectively determined that there is no risk that it does not give out a corrupting force, as far as I can tell. As long as nobody handles it, I believe it is safe. And I believe I have discovered most, if not all, of its properties.
Hey! Dude, that's really impressive. Good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will let you get back to work. And I'll kind of like tap Remy on the shoulder, like, okay, like.
I kind of want to see what'll happen if I just talk to him. Like.
I mean, if you just want to stay here, I will head back home.
No, it kind of needs you here, because if it's just the two of us, it'll get awkward really fast, I feel.
I feel like it's already awkward, though.
I know, but it's kind of fun. Like, Ricard, you're very enjoyable to hang out with. Just letting you know that.
Nobody's ever told me that before.
Well, I'll tell you it again so that you have it twice. You're very enjoyable to hang out with.
What empirically do you find enjoyable about me?
So here's the thing. I haven't been around many people where I don't know what to say 24/7. And with you, I am constantly trying to figure out what the best way to converse is. It's quite a challenge for me, and it makes it really fun. Also, your hair is very glorious, and while it slightly pisses me off, it is fun to be around.
Interesting. I've had trouble conversing with people in the past as well, and I had not considered you or I compatible in many ways, but it seems like through this we share some sort of common ground, which I appreciate.
Me too! Which is great because, I enjoy being friends with people and I would like to be your friend. It's okay to say no. That's fine too.
No, I'm sorry. I've just never had anybody say that to me, and I'm trying to understand what the protocol is to react to that.
This
the
poor
part-
boy.
I know, like, wait, what? Wait,
Okay.
Hannah's never said that she wants to be friends with him or anything?
I don't think in those words. It's more of a
Okay.
maternal relationship, I think.
So, as a
But-
friend, I will tease you a lot, which I already do. So, that's not going to change.
I'll be honest, the teasing often goes over my head. You say a lot of words sometimes that don't necessarily make much of an impact that I fully understand, and so
Right, and
I
I'm
thus
like-
discard them.
And that's part of the fun is because I want to tease you, so I got to figure out how it works.
How do you make it fun when you don't know what to say?
Keep saying
Yes.
things. That's honestly my most big strategy. If you want, there are books about this. I grew
Why
up in
am
a
I here?
library.
It's kind of slowly slinking into the background.
I grew up in a library, so I read a lot of books on
Ah.
how to converse with people. It's a study like anything else. It's something
Thus
you
the
can
inception
learn.
of your hatred of libraries.
Yes, exactly. Because
Interesting.
my father was like, "You must take over my library someday," and I was like, "Books are bad," and that's the basis of my trauma.
Isn't not your father's expectations that are bad rather than the mundane, non-physical books?
Yes, but you see, trauma is difficult to separate, so the books have gotten molded together with it, and now I hate both so much.
Fascinating.
I think
see.
so too. Trauma is fascinating. It affects people in many different ways. Val's a healer, she would know about it. Val, what's your opinion on trauma?
Val's like halfway out the door. She's just like,
Yes. I feel like I was babysitting a playdate. This is what aspect of its treatment, or its acquisition?
Well, just like, the study of trauma, how it muddles people's brains, how you can use that and manipulate it. That kind of stuff is interesting to me.
what the fuck?
This is very interesting, but it is also keeping me from my work.
Okay, see, now we're friends though. Buy your card!
Just said some things that deeply concerned me.
Really? Why?
Yes, as in you just said that using people's trauma to manipulate them
It's an
interests
interesting
you.
thing. Yeah, the way talking is all about figuring out people, understanding them, and then using that in ways to either make them comfortable or discomfortable. Understanding how you can manipulate trauma doesn't always mean you'll use it in a negative way. It's just you can also use it to help people by avoiding a conversation, redirecting, but you have to know and understand where it comes from to be able to do that. Just like people study sorcery, it doesn't mean they're always going to use it for evil.
Val, that's the wrong lesson to learn about sorcery.
Yeah. Okay, so you made some good points. However, we need to back up a little bit here.
Why?
You think that studying sorcery
Is similar to studying manipulation, as in it's something that you should understand, but you shouldn't always use, or ever.
okay, but the way that you phrased it, it seemed more like the practitioner of sorcery isn't necessarily bad as long as you don't use it to harm people.
No, isn't Alden's whole thing is they're like, yeah, study whatever you want, just don't use it. Information's
Sort
important.
of.
No, I hated the books, Val!
The door cracks open and Ricard says, "I don't mean to interrupt, but if you could perhaps have this conversation somewhere."
Yes, we will leave.
Bye, Ricard! So glad we're friends now.
Farewell. And you just see his hair float inside.
I fucking hate that hair, though.
You did very well with him, though. I was quite impressed, actually.
You say it like he's not fun to talk to. Ricard is interesting, like everyone else in this town. Seaweed Man, though. I want to have a conversation with Seaweed Man.
If you can talk him out of licking the seals, by all means.
Can I? That is a challenge I haven't yet tried. I once convinced one of the farmers that he was wearing a blue shirt when it was actually gray.
Why are you like this?
I am terrified of you on a certain level. I would like to say that.
Why are you like this?
So Dad had a library. Pay attention.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, unless there's anything else you both want to say, we can
That
wrap
was-
up the evening there, which is going to bring us to the next couple of days. You're going to have a lot of free time on your hands because it's impossible to travel given the brutal weather outside. It is not showing any sign of letting up. You do confirm from Blue, however, that it is not going to last forever. It is going to get better soon. It's just a matter of weathering this storm. And there's still a few things around town that people need help with in terms of making sure everything is flood-proofed and all the leaks are plugged up appropriately as well. So if anybody has a thing they would like to do during this time, do let me know.
Yes, I have a full-on scheme.
Okay, let's start with Rami and we can jump around a bit.
Okay, so my first part is I have this very fake spider that I bought. And I have gone on a rampage of sneaking it
Can we
into-
say you brought it from Pyrie?
Yes, I did. I love Pyrie. Pyrie's helping me with this. Can
Yeah.
we do it together?
Yeah, she's now in because you made her your friend.
Yeah, cause so like everyone's being really stiff and they're so sad because there's like bandit issues and that's really depressing and people need to cheer up. So my plan for that is we're taking this fake spider and we're gonna hide it in a bunch of different people's stuff and watch their reactions.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
So like
beautiful.
I'm hiding it in June's chair at the newspaper room. In,
What?
it's in
Oh, I hate
Ozzy's.
spiders.
Oh.
Ah.
I high five Pyrie.
She's like, I love this town.
I love this town too. Let's go prank Micah next.
You just hear Jun go, there's two of them.
And so yeah, I'm kind of like rampaging around. I'm gonna hit up Micah. I'm gonna hit up Ozzy. I'm gonna.
Micah, how do you react when a spider appears out of nowhere during your daily duties?
She'll just pick it up and then put it somewhere else. Like, we live in a cave. Everyone the spiders everywhere in caves and bats.
Pyrie says, I told you, she's really just doesn't.
It's
Nonplussed.
disappointing.
I
Hey,
told you.
Do you have anything better? What can we use against Micah?
Ooh. Do you know what she really hates?
What does she hate?
I hate you so
Hey, Micah, what do you really hate?
God. I don't know. What's in a cave that's semi-rare but also really scary?
That's a good question. It would be the Eticaps, I assume, but that's
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
scared of
spider on the
Eticaps.
scale of
Yeah.
a gigantic thing. Your most irrational fear might be something on the surface.
On the surface?
Yeah, something you first saw where it was like, don't you hate squirrels or something? Don't they terrify you?
Yeah, let's do squirrels.
That thing? Yeah, she's just Sapphire whispers to you, squirrels.
I have felt in my room.
Micah's just like inside the guard, like the area, and she's just like, okay, how do I make that
I think
chaos
I
beast?
take, like,
Maybe a bit more sticks here, and like, I guess that looks like an inside-out person.
And
I
as
think
you're
that I-
doing that, suddenly on a string, somebody pulls this squirrel-like thing towards you and starts wrapping it up and around, and there's now a wild feral squirrel in here with you.
Jesus Christ, I guess I guess I'll just pick up that chaos beast and hurl that at it.
Oh my god! So you lift up this kind of hodgepodge of various pieces of furniture and broomsticks that is now your Chaos Beast mannequin, and you just pick it up and pelt it at this squirrel that's appeared inside, and it just explodes in a shatter of splinters. Bunch of guards come to attention. They've got their hands on their blades, and they're like, "What is it, guard captain? What's happening?"
Nothing. My hand slipped. Back to your stations.
Yes, yes, Cap.
I think I'm hiding behind the curtain with Period. Like, we're
Yeah,
just, like,
Fury is just like grabbing her mouth, just like.
Okay, it's okay. The squirrels don't know where you live. The squirrels don't know where you live. The squirrels don't know where you live. I have to start all over again. Great. Grabs the chair, puts it at like a 90-degree angle.
We
Yep.
should tell her, right?
Sticks.
We should tell her at this point.
Nah.
Okay, we leave through the window.
You guys are the worst! Who introduced you to each other? I did! I'm the worst!
There's a guard standing in the rain, just like dressed in like a full sort of kettle helmet, just getting completely poured on. They got like a big scarf muffled over their face, and they're just standing there miserably with a spear. And you and Pyre just make like thieves of the night. They just slowly turn to see this and go, "Oi, wait, hold on, state your business." What do I say? Halt! State your business.
Rabbit squirrel! And I shake the thing while running.
And then, Micah, you hear this little face pops up from behind the window and says, "We got a feral squirrel problem. I don't know what to do."
There's actually a squirrel? Go get it! Chase after it!
Oh, yes, Captain! Go ahead, take conviction. Remy.
Cool, so that was part 1. Part 2 is I'm practicing opening cabinets and breaking it. That's on my own, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this is fire? Yeah, okay,
No.
awesome. So you're just kind of
Pyre's
going,
Great, I love her.
you're just going to people's homes and just
No,
fiddling.
wait, God, that's gonna be so terrible. No, I'm just practicing on the cabinets in Yuri's place.
Okay. She's like, "Oh, it's so nice of you to oil those hinges. They've been so loud recently. I really appreciate it."
I do actually oil them while
Yes,
doing
lovely.
this, but
She says, "You're a true blessing, a true blessing."
now, cool. So my next thing I need to do is, now that I have a cover and practice,
Uh-huh.
is I need to wait till Sarik is busy with some friend he
Mhm.
makes and sneak into the tent and open the cabinet while bringing my stupid spider. So if I get caught, I can be like, "I'm just pranking you. I've been doing this all over
I
town."
think the kids call it social experiment nowadays. If I'm also, I'm hippin' with it.
So to do this, Remy, you have to endure the slog. You have to go up a steady incline. It's a smooth road though, so that's something at least. But it is just waves of water coming down this thing. You get completely soaked, but and you're going alone, right?
I'm trying to decide if having period there is a good idea or not, because that really backs up my thing. And I don't know what they're hiding. What does do they read? Like, I don't know. Do they read their own language or do they read ours too? That's my question.
You know that Pyre and Micah have very quickly learned a few things.
Okay.
They're by no means completely well versed, but they're
Right.
quickly growing.
You know what? I can probably lie my way out of this if we find something horrible and I have to cover for it. So yeah, I'm gonna bring Pyre with me because she's a great excuse.
Okay.
I love her. Like, I
she starts-
legitimately love her too. I'm just
She comes with you, complains a bit about the rain, spends a bit of time gossiping with you about Micah mostly,
yes. Oh, I'm so here for this.
telling you a
gossip.
couple of embarrassing stories from their childhood when they grew up.
Why did I introduce these two together?
Oh
And
man.
soon enough, you make it to the work outpost outside the tunneling project, and it's just a bunch of tents. They're all mostly completely sealed up, apart from that one communal sort of dining tent that you saw that one time. Would you like to sneak?
Yeah, I'm
Hell
gonna
yeah.
attempt to sneak. I
All right,
wore my
since you brought Pyre
darkest
with you-
bright clothes. Yes.
Pyre is also gonna sneak.
What do I sneak? What do I roll? for that?
It's dexterity and sneak if you have the
I do
focus.
not have that focus.
Pyre got a 13.
I got a 9.
She whispers, balls of your feet, gently, silently.
No, but oh god, I wore heels.
That was a terrible idea, but they look so good.
I know, right?
So yeah, you make it to Sariq's tent, and soon there is somebody calling from behind you, going, "Oi, hey, who are you? What's going on here?" And you see just like some young man, kind of scruff of beard, just kind of looking at you, just like questioning what's going on.
Hello there. Remember me, Rami Lawfred? I came last week, still working on that report. Actually, I was supposed to pick something up on this tent, so I'm just gonna head right in there. Talk to you later, darling.
He says, "Well, nobody's allowed in. That's the boss's tent."
But the boss told me, so I don't count as nobody anymore. Keep up, and I just walk in.
Go ahead and make a deception test. Which, at this point, why do I even bother asking you? 'Cause it's gonna
22
be-
plus 5
yeah.
stunts.
Okay. How would you like to utterly change the world?
I
How would you like to
didn't-
fundamentally change how this world works?
You know what? I think I'm just happy with just walking straight in and ignoring his presence. That works for me.
You walk in with such confidence. This person doesn't really bat an eye, and I think Pyrie also kind of does a, "Yep, that's right," kind of as you both go in there. And yeah, you're now alone in Sariq's tent. There's nothing else here.
I pass her the bug thing and tell her to put it somewhere while I go through the cabinet.
Okay, you didn't want to put the spider in the cabinet?
No, here's the thing. I am gonna have to take that spider out. We can't actually leave
I
it because
see.
then he'll know
Yes,
I
good
took
point.
something. So,
Yeah, so Pyrie just kind of like starts looking around, sort of like questioning, "Where should I put it? Where do you think?"
just check under that desk over there, and then I open the cabinets.
Okay. All right, make a thievery test.
Ooh. Let's see. I'm scared. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
I
Let's see if that practice on Yuri's old china cabinets gonna pay off.
let's find out. If not, I have a backup plan of crying in case this goes terrible wrong.
Oh dear. So did it go
I'm
through?
just
I didn't
finding
see
where
it.
it is because
sorry.
the way the Roll20 is set up can be a little confusing because there's like powers and focuses and arcana, and I forget which
It's
one
on
is
your
which.
your main page, your first page,
It doesn't have a rolly.
doesn't it? Can you click on where it says
It just
thievery?
says thievery. It's dex skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was trying to pick at the talent that gives me a reroll, but that's not something you
Right.
click on. I see what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I got a 10. Let's try to reroll that.
Okay,
Let's see if it
So
goes.
complete reroll.
Also a 10. Cool.
Also
I'll
a 10.
Spend a conviction.
All right. Okay, you'll spend a conviction on that. Go ahead. Placing that one. That's another one. Okay.
So
Wow.
I still have a 10. Still have a 10.
Fate has really showed its hand today.
Yes.
This isn't necessarily a hard lock, but you struggle to get in.
Hey, I think this might be a good spot for the spider. You good at opening locks?
Barry kind of looks at you like, "What? No."
Uh,
I
are you strong? Can you break the lock?
mean, I'm nothing compared to the princess.
Well, no one's as great as Micah. She punched an ogre.
Also, I don't want to break anything. That kind of goes against the spirit of the whole thing. Why don't we put it up at the entrance so as soon as you come in?
Yes, I suppose we could do that. I'm gonna fall on top of it, so that way it breaks.
What?
You don't necessarily weigh a lot, so roll a strength might test to see
I'm
how...
wearing heels, so I'm slipping.
Okay, alright, I'll take it, I'll take it.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
It's an 8.
Do you like intentionally break one of your heels to do it, or do you just...
Yes, I do.
Okay. You break your heel and you fall onto the chest. You bounce right off of it, landing right on your tailbone, and it starts stinging a bit. The cabinet is completely unharmed, and Pyrie comes over to you like, "Oh my gosh, Ravi, are you okay?" And she like helps you up. It's like, "Whoa, what happened?"
You should really start buying sensible shoes.
Not the best prank shoes. I can
No.
sell you some better ones if you want, but those are also very nice shoes, so you should keep.
Thank you. Well, they're kind of broken now.
Oh,
Oh, well.
Okay, I put the spider out. Let's get out of here.
Okay. Yes. Why don't you go ahead first and see if the guard's there?
Okay. And she like goes up to the tent, sticks her head out.
Okay, I know I have a second. What am I gonna fucking do with that?
Doctor.
What would you like to do with that 1 second you have?
What does the like? It would...
It's so it's a very long kind of cabinet. It's got about 4 panels of doors on it, but there's only the one at the end that's locked
like
up.
glass doors?
No, wooden. And do you remember from last time when you kind of gave a quick appraisal of it that you believe that the safe aspect of it is probably much more tricky than the entire thing would suggest? It is kind of intentionally built to be difficult to see that it's a place of importance.
How big is it?
About 8 feet long.
Okay, I don't think I have anything I can do!
It happens. It happens sometimes. You can curse the gods for damning you to this fate if you'd like.
No.
Anyway, Pyre's head is back and she's like, okay, we're all good, let's go.
Alright, and then I just leave since there's nothing else. Ricard promised me that we could check it out later, so I'll try that angle next time.
Okay. Alright, so while various heists are underway, what are Micah and or Val doing right now? During this day, rather.
After
Either
being
one of you.
pranked, I'm continuing making the giant chaos beast out of straw, cloth, and 2 dining chairs.
Why don't you make an artifice check
Ooh.
to see how well you make it, which is dexterity, if you don't have the focus.
Okay.
Hypothetically, could you like straight up MacGyver? Like be MacGyver?
Maybe.
I
Depends
guess.
how well you
I
roll.
don't know. Depends
Is
on how
that
I
a
roll. I
build
rolled
that you
11.
can create in this game?
I think it's mostly for like, was that an 11, sorry?
Yes, 11.
Okay, you make a very rickety chaos beast, but you've also never seen a chaos beast before, so maybe they're meant to be like this.
Yeah.
It's standing up on its own, though. It took you a while to kind of get things in place, but you step back and it stands on its own.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, it's a little rickety, but I think for demonstration purposes it looks okay. You can stab it a bunch. Yeah, okay.
Excellent. So Des is there, and she looks at your handiwork, and she says, "Oh, nice, you got the size just about right.
Yeah, I don't think I got
For
anything.
the 3-person chaos beast, that is. If it comes to the 10-person one, then we're going to need more furniture."
Oh. Okay, well, I guess we can go with this, and then you can like demonstrate where to stab and things like that, and points of weakness. Would that be okay? Or do you just go at it?
It's a bit tricky. You're generally just trying to poke at the squashiest looking bits, especially if it's like an eye. It's hard because sometimes they scream at you with the voice of your family, so you have to deal with that, you know? You know how it goes.
Ha ha ha. Okay, I'll add in a couple of socks, and those could be eyes.
Okay. So you now have this like very cute structure of this scary looking thing built up in the guard quarters, and there's quite a few guards off duty today who are just hanging around helping out or otherwise going about admin. So what do you do, guard captain?
In terms of what?
Do you kind of summon everybody to be taught by Des? Do you
just
run through drills?
Just basically summon everyone. If it's still like raining really hard outside, I'll just like do it indoors.
It's feeling very cramped right now because you've got a prisoner like 10 feet away from you, locked up in the one jail cell this place has.
Yeah. It's really tempting to just like knock him out and then just like put his unconscious body in a corner and then, like put him back.
I mean, if you want to do that, you can.
I'll just do that. I'll be like, hey, come here for a second.
He kind of looks at you like, I could do with some better food in this place. So you just cold clock this guy, I guess.
Yep. Okay. Then I'll just tie him up and put him in a corner. It's like, okay, now we can open.
You know.
But now we can like have a bit more room. The guards can like go in the cell to actually just like have some more space.
You want to unlock the cell and just use it as a place to walk in and out of?
Yeah. Look, open concept is
I gotta
really
roll.
hard.
Hold on. I gotta roll some
really
things.
hard.
This is. I gotta hold on one moment.
Wait, you're giving this man, like head trauma.
Yeah.
And
he murdered people, dude. I don't know if I should have it.
There's like a standard of how you treat prisoners.
He also murdered people.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so it isn't It is not very long before your prisoner quickly shakes awake again, and tries to be subtle. So I'm gonna roll a Dex test.
God damn it.
Oh shit.
That goes. Please make a perception test relating to some sort of sense that you have.
You know, we're gonna have to explain to Blue.
How have you got out?
Okay, I'll roll for your guards.
We don't have to explain anything. This is.
Give them the focus.
We're not on. It's not our.
Damn! All right. So
Ooh, guards are really good.
during all of this chaos between teaching guards how to do things, just separating out, sort of pacing everywhere, your prisoner does wake up, and not a soul notices, and slowly seizes this opportunity to just simply walk out of his cell that is no longer locked up. And he's kind of like wrapped in the cloak that you give to prisoners. And he's slowly inching closer and closer. None of your guards are really noticing, until Suna looks over and says, "Oh, Cap, he's awake! Cap is awake! Close the door! Somebody close the door!" Ah! And suddenly the entire guardhouse goes mad. The door is slammed closed. One particularly green young man shoves his spear in between the bars as though that might like help barricade the door. Spear just falls and clashes to the ground with no effect. Everybody's holding onto the door. Your prisoner, whose name is Garkari, by the way, just starts barging into it, trying to see if this is his chance to escape. There's simply too many people here, and the second you put any kind of force in that door, it refuses to open. And yeah, eventually the door gets locked again.
Cool. Okay, well, good lesson, everybody. We will come back here hopefully tomorrow, and we might just have to do it in the rain. Good job.
One guard kind of puts her hand up and she says, "Cap, are we fighting chaos beasts now? What is that?"
Just in case we encounter a chaos
And
beast.
Des goes, "Oh, they're the scariest thing you're ever gonna see, right? So they're basically these fleshy, amorphous, constructed beings that absorb everything they eat, and they take on the form of people you knew in life, and they eat you, and they digest you, and then you become them, and just a piece of them, and it's terrifying. And I'm so glad I'm not in the Shadow Barons anymore. Let me tell you." Ooh. And the entire guard force with you looks utterly horrified.
Yeah, so I just thought that bringing Des here and, her showing off her own expertise would be kind of good, and us taking a bit more knowledge about the different beasts that we may encounter in the world.
There's a few silent blinks,
Are there any questions?
some white faces, and there's a bit of the pause is a bit too long, so as soon as like, "She said any questions?" And everybody kind of like quickly goes up and goes, "No, Cap."
Okay, so we will come back tomorrow and we will run some drills against the Chaos Beast.
"Yes, Cap."
Alright, back to your stations.
And they all go back, and morale has dropped a smidge. All right.
Right? So we're supposed to raise morale.
Well, I don't know, the amorphous inside-out being of your loved ones,
Yeah,
that'll drop
Yeah.
any morale.
yeah, that's fair.
So Val, what's happening in your neck of the woods?
So I was supposed to talk with Elsar at some point about.
Would you like to?
Yeah.
It's fair to say you haven't seen him during this entire storm.
Oh. Okay. That's actually somewhat worrying. So yeah, I guess I tried to find him to make sure that he's not like, I don't know. This is a very weird relationship, but I am kind of worried that he's like out in the middle of the storm because I feel
Yeah.
like he's maybe not. I don't know if he's mortal, but like he's made of flesh and blood, so I'm a little like,
Right.
but.
Yeah, it's you don't have to look around. Well, actually, make a perception test of your choice for looking for somebody. Searching would be the one.
Boy. Why did it not add that? Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, 15, 5 stun.
15. You find him fairly quickly. He's around near the docks. He's got in his hands what looks like a shrimping net, and he is attempting to fish up some stuff from the bay. And he seems utterly
In the middle of this?
yes.
Are you nuts?
He kind of turns around when he notices you're there, and he says, "I'm sorry, what?"
Why are you out here in the middle of a thunderstorm?
What, are you worried? It's fine.
Yes!
I'm working on
No,
my
it's
fishing skills. Look how many I've caught today already.
not. How many is it? Am I really
It's a-
supposed to?
It's a net filled with shrimp. And he says, "They seem to like the disturbance in the water."
Yeah? You're still gonna get hit by lightning.
He looks up to the sky and he says, "Oh, just try it." So dinner tonight? Am I late?
What time is
It's whenever you want it to be.
okay. You have like 30 minutes.
Okay. I had 30 minutes. Why are you out here?
Because I haven't seen you and I was actually kind of worried that like you drowned or something or fell off a cliff. I don't know. It seems like you really have no idea what you're doing sometimes.
I'm exploring. You should try it sometime.
There's a difference between exploring and doing stupid things.
Okay. So do you want to use these for dinner or what?
Yeah, I'll use them for dinner.
Okay, let's go.
Ah.
And you both go back up to your home, dry off a little bit. He kind of like stands by the big hearth that you have in your home. Yeah, and do you chat with him at all?
Is Hannah out still currently? I would assume that
Hannah's
she's
not really out as much as she is just entertaining herself indoors because there's really not a whole lot to do.
okay.
And I think you've had a fairly important discussion with her about practicing her fire shaping, and you're very insistent not to do it in the house.
In the house.
So she is looking at this entire situation as an affront from the gods themselves, who have basically said have denied her from practicing her cool new magic powers that she just discovered she has. And you know, maybe a bit of that blame slips into you a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you control the weather, it's just that it's very inconvenient timing.
Yeah, so I guess I will start showing the shrimp and I will ask him, so you said that you were going to tell me about stuff.
Oh, yeah. Still interested?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay.
You're weird. Let's put it that way.
I like to think that I am, I have eccentricities. Also, you're welcome for the shrimp.
Thank you.
So, let's see. Shall we start at the beginning of creation, or the beginning of the gods, or the exarchs? Let's see. What interests you the most?
I guess... What actually happened between you and the gods?
So here's the crux of it. Anwaran, let's say, created us. It gets a bit metaphysical before that point, so we'll just say that he allowed us to exist. From there, we made a very quick realization that had apparently gone unnoticed by the primordials, which is that for everything that exists, why not just make it better? There were already creatures at this point, and they were going around killing something, eating it, breeding, dying, living again, eating, etc. On and on and on. And we all saw it as a bit pointless and a bit unnecessary, to put it lightly. There's a lot of different opinions among the exarchs, but this is basically how we united. We wanted to bring the world to, what do you call it? The shadow plane? The place that we were supposedly dragging all of existence to?
Right.
What do you think the shadow plane is?
A place of death, cursedness. Take your pick.
Sure. What do you think the Exarchs get out of the deal when all existence is just pulled into a place of death and cursedness?
I would assume some sort of form of power.
But we already had power, was the thing. And the only way it was challenged is after we decided to go ahead with certain plans. So if that's what we wanted, we would have just done nothing. No, that wasn't the reason. This so-called plane of shadow, it was a epiphany, a realization that we had of the potential of existence. And it was thanks to Amwaran during those moments where he had just a moment of clarity that allowed this potential to be realized by us. So, once we knew it existed, we thought, why not embrace it? Why not have this power of anything? Why not give it out to everyone? Why should only the primordials have such power? So, we try to drag is such a terrible word. We try to have an existence embrace the maximum potential power it could get. And of course, the primordials did not like that. Do you know why they didn't like that?
Because it would take power away from them.
Exactly. So that's how the entire war between light and shadow begun. It was us trying to get everything for everyone. Perhaps we were greedy, perhaps we were arrogant, but it seemed like, why do it any other way? And so the gods of light were sprung into existence and they led a charge against us, and I was cut down brutally. Didn't last. And the rest is history.
So what is the plane of shadow then? You say
hard.
it's a place where like existence exists to its fullest?
It's where, do you know, how much do you know about sorcery?
I'm from Jarzon.
Okay. Let's do this very quickly then. Sorcery can let people do. Sorcery gives you power. Very simply, it gives you power, right? Power to do things that you're not usually capable of. Sorcery is a thread of that shadow plane. And what that means is it is a tool that grants people the power to do what they want. And with a thread of it, you can become quite powerful. You can exert your will on the world a bit easier. But embracing it fully, to really immerse yourself in all of it for everything, now that's a very important part. It means everybody can do whatever they want.
That's just
Now
anarchy.
Oh, is it though? Isn't it evenly distributing power amongst everybody? What exactly made the primordials deserving of what they have? And when everybody possesses that kind of power, it means that the only thing that can stop them are each other, but it doesn't matter because you can just do anything in any direction far away from everything else. It's just really, I don't know why mortals are so against this.
Because sorcery harms people.
Well, sure, but the reason for that is because some people have a bit of sorcery and a lot of people don't. If everybody had all this power, they would never have any need to do anything to the people around them. Every need, every want would be satisfied automatically.
How? No, it wouldn't.
Because you could do anything. anything you wanted. Live 1,000 lifetimes, live 0, become one with all existence, try life out as a rabbit. I don't know what mortals like.
It doesn't give you connection. It doesn't give you other people. It doesn't give you
Course.
family.
Of course it does. People don't go away. It just means you're all equal.
We're all equal now.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Everybody, there are adepts born with magic. There are sorcerers who wring magic, seize it for themselves. And there are your little Jarzon people who still wield a lot of power to oppress people. Not the most equal looking in my eyes. At this point, Hannah kind of turns around the corner, and she looks she's been in a bit of a mood recently. She's just like, "Is dinner almost ready?"
Yeah, we're just shelling the shrimp right now.
Okay. She kind of scuttles off a little bit.
You okay?
Yep.
Do you want to talk?
No. Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, she comes back inside. Her mood seems to elevate a little bit after that, and she just kind of gives you the whole spiel of it's not fair. Why is it raining so much now of all times? It's never rained this hard before, and now I can't do my fire shaping. Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, Elsa's in the background, just like, oh, interesting.
It's raining because that is how the water cycle works. We've gone over this. So then I'll probably just like start quizzing her on like, okay, so how are clouds formed? Like,
Beautiful. Is there anything else you do?
I think at a certain point, once Hannah is safely out of earshot, I do want to grill him again.
Okay.
I'll say
Let's quickly bounce to somebody else if that's okay.
yes. Go for it.
So this is all kind of, the time is a bit fluid during these next couple of days. Micah, you are, or if you recall, you have a appointment, a meeting with Morik, who said that he would make you some fancy armor. And indeed, before you left, you actually got some very quick measurements done by him. And yeah, you walk over to his forge. You can see that there is a lot of space that has been cleared out in this place. He has got the fires burning hot under, a rain-soaked awning over the top. And he sees you coming and he says, "Oh, hello, Micah. Come, get out of the rain, get out of the rain."
Thank you.
And he says, "So, I'm going to be working on new armor for your people very soon. As soon as this weather stops, we can get the mining done at the tunnel, and then we'll have a fresh supply of things to make for your people. I hope that's agreeable."
Yeah, sounds good. We're not really in a rush. I doubt anything's gonna come in this rain. Seems like everything's hiding for a while.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, it's given me a lot of time with my hands, and there was enough iron to be made for something befitting a guard captain.
Such as... I don't need anything fancy,
Oh, it's too late for that. And he ushers you inside his workshop, and he kind of guides you over to a mannequin that is wearing a very nice, fairly simple but sort of an elegant simplicity to it, suit of armor. It's sort of a medium-ish armor. It's got some platings in the important places, but otherwise the joints are left very free. And it has a beautiful little guard captain's badge sort of emblazoned on the front as well. And he says, "Here it is. What do you think?"
I think she does think it's a bit flashy. But she's like, "Oh, yeah, quite good. Very good. Very, pretty, I guess?"
Shall we switch you up? Well,
Um,
is it functional? Let me show you how functional it is.
Right. Steps in, I guess, like, awkwardly just like, how does this
It's like,
strap
hold on, it's better if somebody. Okay, here we go. And he starts like belting you into this thing. It's a very nice fit. It's a bit heavy, but it's nothing that you can't handle. Especially kind of like lower down in your body. There's a lot of weight in the boots and the legs that really give you low center of gravity. And he explains to you how he sort of like helps try to keep into account your incredible strength, and maybe put a little bit more into it than he would for a normal person, because he thinks you can really handle it. So you get a new suit of armor, Micah.
Sweet.
It is medium armor. It gives you an AR of 4,
Nice.
dex penalty of -1, and it gives you a +2 bonus to any people trying to knock you prone or use skirmish on you.
Who's gonna try to knock me prone? Alright. Sounds good.
And he kind of like suits you all up, does a final polish of the front of it, and he goes, "Ha! How does it feel?"
Solid, like a rock.
And he kind of just takes the opportunity to shove you quite hard. So why don't you make a might test with a +2 bonus, and he
Oh
will
my
make a might
God.
test. Yep.
I need more pluses for my might checks, guys. 14, so 16 total?
Okay, he shoves you, and you kind of wobble, and you very almost fall over, and then you just stay remaining on your feet.
I mean, a little.
And he pushed you quite hard, like it was not soft.
Well, you can warn me before you do that, but yeah, quite solid.
Looks like it works out. If you need any thing changed in the fit, just let me know, and I'll work on the rest of your people as soon as I get the materials.
Sounds good. Oh, I was just about to ask for just something extra while you're doing all of this. Just a
Certainly.
small commission.
I have the time.
Can I get a dagger perhaps commissioned? Just a small something.
Well, I have some daggers available. Did you want something special?
Maybe something a little more pizzazz. She's just like, I don't know what this is.
I'll need to figure out how to translate this into this, but I'm sure we'll find a way.
Functional, but you know, maybe a bit personalized. I'll leave it up to you. I don't really know service
Was
dweller
there
weapons.
a sketch or something you want to do to show me?
I don't think she does, because she hates
You could just-
paper.
You can just start punching the wall to
Well,
engrave it.
yeah, maybe. Actually, yeah, she'll like take out a rock. It's like, okay, well, just like, and
It's like,
maybe
what, you had that on you this entire time?
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's good for notes, I guess.
Incredible. Yeah, and you're able to basically carve out something,
Yeah, just like
general area.
rudimentary. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I could do this easily.
Okay, thanks.
It could be ready before the day is done.
No rush, but that sounds good.
All right. Well, here's the thing. My other order is a bunch of weather vanes, and they're not exactly needed right now. So I can move what you have to the front of the queue.
I am glad to help as guard captain of Miniry. Just you can move it up to the front if you want.
Understood.
Cool. Sweet. Want to zoom to
All
someone
right.
else?
Yeah, sure. You get your dagger though. It is a little bit fancy, but nothing too fancy, and nice.
Cool. Yeah. I'll do another cutscene later sometime with. We can move to
Understood.
someone else.
So Rami, I think after your day of unfortunately failed thievery,
It was so bad.
you and Pyre part ways, and you go home a little bit dejected. And when you do, you notice that the door is flung open. You hear the sound of Yuri kind of like desperately yelling within.
I rush in immediately. Actually, how far away is Puri? Because I can tell her to
She's
hit Micah.
quite far. She
Okay,
disappeared
yeah.
at this point.
Okay.
You rush in, and you can see that the entire place has been hit by a maelstrom. Stuff has fallen over, broken. Everything is just chaos and bedlam. And you hear Yuri yelling, and you duck your head inside, quickly see what's going on, and you see Fred your horse-sized peacock running amok in Yuri's home, and she's like, "Oh no, please calm down," and it's just going "Rah! Rah!" and just running around, just like desperately heading things. And Yuri goes, "Oh, Remy, thank goodness, please, you have to help me."
Okay, I'm gonna immediately hug my peacock. You missed me!
Communication, animal handling check, please.
I don't have animal handling, but I have communication, so
Yes.
13. I'm gonna re-roll
Okay.
that one because I love my peacock very much. I got a 6! Yay! So,
Amazing. So that's now an 18.
something like that. That sounds like math.
Okay.
Yeah, you wrap your hands around Fred, and immediately, like all of his feathers were sort of bristled, and he's also drenched as well, and he looked very sort of perturbed and a bit confused as well. The second you wrap your arms around him, just immediate calm. And it's like,
Sorry, I had some things. I didn't take you out on your walk today.
and Yuri, a bit at a loss for breath, kind of says, "Oh, it happens with these creatures. They get so attached, and you're such a lovely ray of sunshine. I can understand why I would want to be with you."
Yuri, I am so sorry about the house. I will clean everything
Oh
up.
no, please. This is nothing. This
Oh,
is
this is a lot. It's a
trinkets.
lot.
Well, it's
Trinkets.
he's a very large peacock. He doesn't know his own strength.
No, Fred, that was very bad. You can't do that again. I know, it's okay, buddy.
Why do I feel bad for this peacock?
Yeah, so what do you kind of do from there?
I guess I take Fred for a walk, and then I try to clean up the area. And then I have to figure out how to break into a mine, I guess, at some point. That is still a problem. Then I have to deal with the fact that someone from my past might be showing up, so I probably have to spread a rumor and start discrediting him. There's a lot of things I have to do.
There are. The first thing of most importance, however, is that as soon as you go outside with Fred, his pace quickens very quickly, and you find it incredibly hard to keep up because his legs are so much longer than yours. And you quickly get the feeling that he does not like the rain, does not like the thunder, all the loud noises. Is very not great.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take some time trying to calm him down. Where does Fred live?
At first you shoved him into the stable that Elzana uses for his prized horse, and that was very quickly revoked. There has been a room, not a room, a stall, sty, what's it called?
A stable?
A section of the stable has been
It's a stall.
stall. It's a stall. Yeah, a stall has been prepared for Fred, and that is now his stall, and he has to be kept away from the other horses because he makes them a bit nervous.
Okay, so I'm gonna take him back, and I'm going to try to calm him down and talk with him a little bit. I'm gonna get a blanket from some of my old fabric and just lay it on top of him so Fred doesn't get cold.
Okay, make another animal handling test.
I feel like I should have just picked the animal handling one instead of the stupid thievery one. That did me shit.
Listen,
Let's
you gotta learn. You gotta start. It's always hard when you start, but the more you practice, the better you get.
Yes, that's true.
So 15. You managed to calm down Fred quite a bit. It is clear to you that he managed to bust out of his stall, and basically he just tried to find you, and ended up at Yuri's place. You feel like you could reinforce the place a little bit, but also, if you just kind of visit him every now and then, you get the feeling he'll deal with it better. And you know that the rain is going to last forever, so hopefully it shouldn't be too long with him being a bit worried like this.
We'll bump him up to a bigger priority because there was a lot going on, and I did forget about poor darling Fred.
Poor sweet darling
Poor
horse-sized
sweet
peacock
darling
Fred.
horse-sized peacock Fred, my dearest companion. I also need to come up with a plan for what's going to happen to him when I eventually leave Miniry. Like, who's gonna take my peacock horse? I can't take him with me.
honestly, just give it to Pyrie. She'll just like she travels a lot, so
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
I'm going to
that's a very good
introduce them
idea.
next time, so I have my backup plan for that.
Beautiful. So while you think of the next priority you'd like to do, let's jump back to Val.
ooh,
Okay.
I like her deep breath, just like oh god.
Let's get philosophical.
Woo! All right.
that doesn't really work in that song.
So I feel like at some point I corner him again.
Yeah, I think probably
He's
after
like-
dinner, everybody's full. Hannah and Shana go off to play for a little bit, and Elsa kind of starts wandering off.
So, if the whole intention of sorcery is altruistic, why do so many people do bad things with it?
Because they
Why
get
does it corrupt people?
because they get a lick of power, and turns out they like it.
So then, why aren't you and the other exarchs more pissed at, like, the random sorcerers running around doing bad things?
Well, you gotta think of it from a scale that we interpret things. If somebody makes some kind of pact and does some terrible thing and uses their sorcery for malice, it's beyond us, below our scope. It doesn't really come up. We have a much more long-term view of things, while, well, the gods are trying to wait for mortals to magically just not be as, no offense, terrible. Eventually, they think if all souls just keep recycling, eventually they'll just get some kind of insight and be better. We think that that's a waste of time. It adds needless suffering over long stretches of time. And we can all just kickstart it if we all just meld with the shadow.
So, your concept is just, fuck it, we're just gonna give everyone power?
It's that it shouldn't have been this long for the scales to be so uneven.
But uneven in what way? Do you mean as far as human society is concerned? Or do you mean on a cosmic scale between mortals and gods?
We are talking cosmically at this point.
So you're saying that you're on the side of the people.
I want, more than anything else, everything and everyone to realize its absolute pinnacle self, in whatever form that is.
And you think that this is the way to do that?
It's not happening any other way.
It's not happening this way either.
That's because we were stopped. Imagine for a
Yeah.
second what it'd be like if we weren't.
Yeah, you were stopped. You can't change that. But you're still doing this. People are dying.
Yeah, mortals are killing mortals.
Yeah, with a power that you have founded.
Oh,
You have responsibility in that.
I did not I did not realize that mortals only were killed by sorcery.
They're not only killed by sorcery. But there's still bad people out there doing bad things with your power.
Sure. And the reason
Yeah.
they're there is because we are in a constant cycle, waiting for them to not do that. Which to me seems like a plan that isn't going to go anywhere.
So you think that your best course of option is to sit out there in the cosmic universe and duke it out with the gods?
We don't really duke it out, as you say.
What do you do?
We exist in a space that sort of transcends material things. It's more of a, I don't know, cosmic debate constantly happening, a flow of energy back and forth,
Don't you
stuck in
think
a bit
that
of a
if you-
stalemate.
If you want people to be better, then go on the ground. Teach people to be better.
So you think we haven't tried that yet?
Have you?
We have. And the second people get a lick of power, but it's not challenged by anybody else's, it means they start abusing that power for very, very questionable things.
Then maybe the system that you're trying to implement isn't working.
We haven't implemented it yet.
You're trying, though. Your test subjects have failed.
Again, no. At no point has anybody had equal power. Not once.
That's not what... When you try to give people power, you do not give them any context for it. You don't give them a structure.
You're thinking like a mortal right now.
Yes,
Very-
because you want to give power to mortals. You have to think like a mortal.
They're not going to be that anymore.
Really.
But we're talking about something that's not going to happen in your lifetime, and likely not for many, many, many lifetimes, so...
Could happen
don't
in
worry
my
about
daughter's lifetime. Could happen in my granddaughter's lifetime.
Probably not.
Doesn't matter if it's not going to happen in my lifetime, it's still going to affect people. People are inherently the same throughout history. Faces change, names change, natures change. But ultimately, people are souls who are deserving of respect. And you're treating them as chess pieces. You and the gods. You want to change things? You start with them.
Do you know of a place far from here? I'm trying to remember what it's called. Feinaria?
Have I heard of this place?
Make a history test. Historical law, whatever it's called.
Boy,
If you have it, otherwise intelligence.
I believe I have it. I don't know. Let me double check. Nope, just straight intelligence.
Okay.
26 times.
No! Holy damn! So yes, it's fair to say you've heard of this place. And it makes a lot of sense for you to know, actually, because it is the country that bordered Jarzon before it became the Shadow Barons. Which is to say, the worst place to go, aside from Kern, in this world. But Feinaria was effectively a prosperous, beautiful, incredible kingdom that eventually crumbled in on itself after certain people, an infiltrator kind of from Jazon, kind of got in the system and tried to use it to their own ends, and then the entire civilization collapsed. The entire country became a corrupted version of itself, and it is now just a spawning grounds for what are they called? Shadow fiends.
I've heard of it.
He says, that happened last time we tried what you suggested. So now there's a bit of disagreement about what to do next.
Why did it happen?
Why did it happen?
Yeah.
Ask your Jarzoni people that.
But also, I have a question. Another question. A different
All right.
question.
This is quickly adding stress to my holiday, so we'll call this the last one.
Have you ever considered that you're guilty of the same sins as the gods?
Go on.
You've both put into motion this whole big thing, but you've never asked people if they actually want it.
That's true.
Isn't
Thing
that
is-
bad?
Once everybody gets the power to do whatever they want, then if they don't want it, they can get rid of it.
But then the world is going to be inherently unequal again,
Well, I mean,
and you'll be
once you
back
get
to square one.
once you get rid of it, then it's gone. Balance is still there.
still not giving people a choice, though.
They get the choice.
But not before you do all this.
Correct.
Don't you think there's something wrong with that?
No.
Why?
Because no matter what, they're broken free of this cycle, and then from there, anything they want is attained.
But what if what they want is this right now?
Then they can effectively create that.
But not before you implement the changes.
Well, I can't properly express to you just how different everything will be from mere perceptions of the world. So I don't know what else to tell you. I will drag this world kicking and screaming if I have to, if it means that everybody gets a taste of the same thing.
Why? Why do you want this?
When we were first created by Anwarin, we saw firsthand how the other primordials reacted. They thought, he has created beings of such immense power beyond anything that exists currently, and he shouldn't be allowed to do that. And we simply thought, yes, he should. As should anybody. That's it.
So there's no root to your cause beyond just this needs to be something that people can do?
I mean, that is the root.
There's no...
We don't have daddy issues, if that's what you're asking.
No.
Although maybe we sort of do.
I could see it. It would make a lot of sense. I guess I'm just never going to understand this.
I guess you won't. But again, it's immaterial. So don't worry.
You keep saying that. Still gonna worry.
Well, I'm not. I think I'm gonna go out and try spearfishing now.
Whatever you want to do.
Sounds good. And he leaves. Is there anything you do in your house at this point?
I think I'm gonna scream into a pillow for a little bit.
Beautiful.
But also, I would like to check to make sure that...
Oh, sorry,
Right.
when you scream, please make a wild arcane chest.
Oh, Jesus.
The DC is now 16. You're trying to beat.
That's an 11.
An 11. Okay. I think this is a perfect time for your wind shaping to manifest.
Great!
As you scream to this pillow, you do not necessarily realize at first that there is suddenly a wind current in your room. Perhaps you just assume that a window flew open from the storm, but it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then you hear crashing of the various things in your room, smashing, breaking, bits of your bedding kind of flying up into the air, fluttering around. The window in this place smashes open. Pieces of glass start to fly around as well. It becomes a hurricane in your room.
Can I try to stop it?
As soon as you become more aware of this entire thing, it starts to die down.
Okay.
And Hannah kind of like, you hear Hannah running up the stairs.
Okay. I try to like just cut the wind entirely. Just calm. Calm
cut.
air.
There's still some rain and wind coming in from just the natural outside, but none of it appears to be from you. But Hannah walks into your destroyed room, and she just kind of looks down and then looks up to you in horror.
I really, really hope that you did not inherit your magic from my side of the family. And I'm just going to start like trying to clean everything up.
Okay. All right. Let's jump back over to Micah. We can. I was going to see if we were going to do the wager scene with Micah first. You want to do that next time? Sure. Sorry about that. Then yes, we can wrap up. Is there any major, minor things to do?
Oh, the guy we sent to scout. He was gonna tell us.
Yes, Leia was going to contact you about stuff, but
Let's just do that.
we'll handle that next
here.
time.
Yeah.
Let's leave it on a note of Hannah looking at Val and her desperately wishing that Hannah does not inherit her magic from her, and that's where we can end.
Yeah.
So for all of you that have joined us, thank you very much. And we'll be here next week. Does anybody have
Hopefully
anything
with
they
all
would
of
like to
us.
say? Yes, hopefully with all of us. Anybody have anything, anything they'd like to plug?
Our artist and the music.
Yes, our artist, who is
Hansel Eldor at Hansel Eldor on Twitter or Dork H Doodles on Tumblr. They were amazing to work with. He's super talented. If you want really cool art, you should get it.
beautiful, beautiful watercolor art.
Mhm.
Our music is by Windswept, spelt Vindswept. Check them out on YouTube. They have amazing fantasy stuff, and it's really beautiful and a nice variety of things as well. Any other things we would like to plug or talk about before we depart?
Just to
I guess
disclaimer
I
to
will plug
not hate
libraries again.
libraries again. Yeah.
Yes, all right. So we are in the summer months. That means that it's summer reading time at a lot of libraries. So if you like reading and like getting prizes and all sorts of good things like that, go ahead and check them out. A lot of it's online now. And there's a lot of libraries reopening. So follow the safety guidelines, stay safe out there, respect the institution of the library, respect the staff, respect your fellow patrons.
In spite of the messages we give during the show, we are in fact
We actually like libraries.
pro-library.
We love
Yes, we are very pro-library.
I don't think Rami's exactly a role model. I don't think you're supposed to
She's
do
not a
what
role
Rami
model.
does. I don't think.
All right, and with that, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you for everybody for joining us.